I whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I really had that big like a llama. I whip that beat down like Michael Obama.
We already have it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip the thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clip, bitch. Hung like a llama. I whip that dick out like Michael Obama.
Can't you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, makings, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, makings, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up, big up. Welcome back to another episode of Secret Society of Good Guys. As always, we are your good guys. Layla is under the weather, which is like a big, huge portion of America right now. If it's not actually being sick or something, they actually are dealing with like a snowpocalypse. And Abbie's in a snowpocalypse, and we're hoping that she joins up to somewhere in the next few moments. So
it did snow in Florida this week.
Over up by Layla?
Central Florida, not by me, but Central Florida snowed. So like it was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I didn't get to see it. I did see it when I was in southern Texas once too.
The last time there was snow is 1977, I think. Well, I mean, I guess in the Panhandle there's been snow, but the snow in Miami.
In Orlando, like maybe, I don't know, whatever, 7, 8 years ago, there was definitely a morning when all the houses had icicles and everyone had like frost on their windshield that they actually had to scrape off, but it didn't proper snow or anything. But I mean, that's close enough that if it had rained, it would have snowed.
Do you think there's anything?
Chemtrails, 100%, of course. Kidding me? Of course it is.
I was going to ask, do you think there's anything unusual about this weather that we're about to go into. I think our Sunday we're going to be 85 degrees, and their Sunday they're going to be like feel
I don't
of
know. I don't
under
even
20.
try and track it anymore. I think it's just one of those things that even great grandparents were bewildered by it, and we're convinced that technology means that we've got a better understanding, and I think it's the opposite. Like our tool, like we can be precise as it's happening, but to be like, oh, why all of a sudden is this pattern happening? It's like we can only detect it after it's happened or while it's happening.
You don't think we could, like, let's say in Florida, we can spray some chemical that is like flipping a magnet backward, like it's repulsive to cold weather, and they can spray a chemical in
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, of course we can engineer it. I just
that's what
mean that, and I think usually what happens like with everything is that they try something and it backfires, and then they try and course correct, and then the course correct is maybe too much, and then that backfires, and then at a certain point you find yourself in a dangerous game of like swinging the pendulum back away. Like it's coming at you, and if you don't want it to hit you, they kind of like redirect it and push it back again, and like they're just delaying it over and over and making it worse. That's kind of how I see it working.
that's called the ye old lady who lives in the shoe trick, where it's like she swallowed a spider and she could have just left things alone. It wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her.
Yeah.
But then after the
Right.
spider, like she had to swallow something bigger and swallow something bigger. And it like all started because she just swallowed a fly. That's
Pretty much,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah, it's like tiger fish in Florida.
And
Or
it's
tigers.
crazy because it's one of those things that if you have, let's just say politically, if your constituents are in an area that all of a sudden they're going through a drought, like the wet, like literally you need it to rain in order for them to be able to survive. Traditionally, the role of like your rain dancer, shaman, priest, whoever, like the guy that was in charge of making sure it rained on a long enough timeline, that was also the politician and like the PR guy. Like it was the guy in the region. Like he was your representative. And if he didn't make it rain, he would die and someone would take his place. And then that guy would be worried about the next time the drought came up, right? That's kind of how it like happened. And we don't really have that role anymore. That role is completely gone, except when people start going through the after effects of like a drought or like any kind of natural disaster. They do immediately look to the politicians, and the politicians sitting there like, what are you looking at me for? Like, I don't rain dance. You know what I mean? And then they got to pretend like they're shuffling money around or they're doing something about it. But there's nothing they can do. There's literally nothing they can do except for beg for federal money, right?
I know I also have seen like the whole in the 3D conspiracy. I've seen the whole conspiracy from like My Maria, in the South. How many hurricanes do they fear us with? Like, it's 5 days out. Everybody run and prep. It's 3 days out. Board up your windows. It's 2 days out. The end of the world. Nothing happens.
It's SummerSlam. It's literally like, and it's also funny too. I've heard it described as the Super Bowl for all the weather announcers, because once the hurricanes show up, they all start flying into Florida, and it's like they're revving up. They got the new boots on. They've got like everything set up because this is potentially where you could be seen and drafted by the majors, right? You could go national if you just get your right moment. If you like spike that ball in the end zone or whatever the equivalent is for getting hit by a chair, as it like flies by, or if you just catch someone dying, right? Or if you catch someone saving a kitten, whatever the hell it is, everyone goes to Florida to get that shot or whatever. And if it's like South Carolina that floods for some reason, it's usually Florida, right? And you're kind of guaranteed that you can get footage of you in Florida during a natural disaster for your portfolio. And if you don't have it, why not? Why don't you have it if everyone else has got a clip for it?
I was wondering that too in the economy of the Home Depot push and the Walmart push. My Maria also brought up that there's been all the new stuff with food stamps. And so the food stamp people are forced to buy the healthier food on the outside of the store, which the healthier food actually goes bad. The inside of the store is all the food that doesn't go bad, which is
it's
all the
shelf stable.
hurricane prep food.
Yeah, it's all shelf stable stuff. Because anything fresh is alive and it's slowly dying, right? It's the easiest math in the world. And anything that is shelf stable is essentially dead. It's inert and it'll last forever. But that's typically your like overly processed stuff. A lot of that's not off limits. I think a lot of the off limits stuff ended up being candy and soda and other like they were processed, but it wasn't all processed.
I think I was thinking until Abbie gets here, it was kind of interesting. I was wanting her to be here and maybe even Layla because she might get some cold weather up in the panhandle. And I was thinking, we've been through a lot of hurricanes. We have a lot of tips, maybe not for cold weather, but maybe how we could reverse our tips. Because I was thinking how, like, important it is, like, we have a lot of generators down here. They don't up north. We get hot AF, but they actually can get to a point where inside their house is the same temperature as the outside of their house. We still have shade inside our house. And if you set up your box fans right, or if you have a decent enough generator, you can run a whole bunch of fans or an AC that you can bring your temperature back to kind of normal. They can do that too if they have a generator. But I bet percentage wise, if you look at like Texas, Florida comparative, we got to have like 3/4 more generators than them. Like we're Jenny stock down here. I have
Yeah,
friends that they
and no matter
upgrade their
how
Jennies.
no matter how hot it gets, if you've got a generator, you can always make enough swamp coolers to keep yourself as cool as you need to.
And so they don't have a lot of that. There's a finite amount of wood. I was wondering how many northern people, like if I were northern, so this was kind of a question that I have for you, and I know you're from not always lived in Florida, but like if I were northern, what would be in your bug out bag that might be different than your Floridian bug out bag? Or like your prep kit if this was about to happen to you. You're about to lose power for a week and the temperatures are going to be like subarctic. How are
For
you
sure,
going to
you probably
survive?
want heating oil because I know that the area that I came from was a little bit rough, and they had shortages a few of the winters where heating oil was hard to get or expensive to get, or just people couldn't afford it and they needed their heater to be running. And if you were away for a week or two, there's a good chance someone will break in and steal all the oil out of your heater and put it into their heater. So you'd come back home and all the
Yeah.
pipes would be frozen, like it would just be completely frozen inside. So that's definitely the I would say that's one of the equivalents of having a generator would be having some kind of a backup stash of heater oil and all sorts of other resources you would need to like get around.
I was thinking an axe. Like
Well, yeah,
you
I mean, like, okay, yeah, I mean the basic,
Well,
yeah,
I
a
mean, in
gun,
Florida you need
a
an
fork.
axe, but you don't need an axe. You can get by without fire for a lot of you can eat raw fish. There's a lot of stuff that you can have going on. Not that you can't eat raw beef or raw everything else, but I just think you could probably go without
Bugs.
fire longer.
Gotta get some bugs.
Bugs. You could eat tons of bugs in Florida. There isn't no any bugs up north right now.
I mean, for a while, I would always have a good box of MREs or some kind of equivalent, and you just go like even when you go without power, everyone else is this is like a phenomenon we talk about, but like everyone's freezers or refrigerators are going out, so everyone's cooking stuff. So for a good 2 weeks, like you can get fed. It's not like anything has gone bad. And usually power is restored within 2 to 3 weeks, right? If it goes beyond that, now maybe you're boiling water and using MREs and stuff. But normally it's like extra survival mode. And I don't think we've even had that. Even during Andrew, the worst hurricane that was through, you could still go back to Publix within, 5 days of it being over.
Even if the power was off in Publix, you could still shop. Do you remember how many times you went to the grocery? It was pitch black and people are just in there with their flashlights.
I mean, I don't want to start getting all boomer, but that was also when you could just show up and have cash, and then like it wouldn't be the systems down. Like you could just be like, "All right, here's $15."
Oof, cash. That's a big thing that I think would be different of like the Gen X to millennial. Like, hey, make sure you get cash out of the bank because those ATMs are electricity too. And that is a huge thing in Florida for a couple of days. If you lose power, you're like Oh my gosh. I have my bank card. I have credit cards. I don't have it. I'm cash poor. You can't
You
get it.
gotta also the hurricane survival pack. It's got all the things that you would expect in it. But then for like bartering stuff, you gotta have ammo. You gotta have a little bit of I don't know, like some precious
Alcohol.
metals and stuff, alcohol, some other illicit, substances that
That's what I
would
was prepping my friends
good
for.
part, like all like having a little bit of all of that stuff. Good painkillers. Have you been, sitting on that Vicodin for the tooth removal you got like 5 or 6 years ago? If the power goes out and everything else goes out like that, like opiates will absolutely be worth money, more money than Bitcoin probably, depending on the exact situation you're in.
The other thing about Florida, which no one really talks about during it, which I think is interesting for the power going out up north, is it's pretty usual that when we lose our power, we go under like martial law, and then you're in a dry county with a curfew. And it's a pretty normal, like, where people talk about travel papers. You can't even go county to county after sundown. Like, it gets pretty strict in a way. Where you hear a lot of Americans, they're like patriotic. Florida's a big state like that, but during hurricanes, people tend to abide by the rules.
I get it. It is there's definitely overreach that goes on. And I also get why the normal justification for the overreach is definitely you idiots are gonna kill yourselves. They've seen too many people just die for being an idiot because they're out driving in the middle of like the actual hurricane. And it's rough for so many different reasons. They lose a taxpayer, they gotta clean stuff up, there's like paperwork to do. I think just ultimately they don't want those bodies. But if not to say that never let a good tragedy go to waste, right? So I do think that there's ways that they can exploit that for good or bad reasons. But ultimately, I think it's for like I don't want to sound like a bootlicker here, but it's like for the ultimate good. Because I remember in some of the previous hurricanes that people on the southern coast, they knew that there was a camera pointed at them and that the whole world was tuning in to like these live streams to see. So they would just go out there or like the southern tip of Fort or Key West, right? By the Big Bell thing. And people would just be out there knowing that the entire world's watching them stream. And it's like, how long can I stay out here? And if you're an idiot or if you're a tourist and you think you're having fun, at a certain point, you're not getting out of Key West for the next like 2 or 3 weeks. And depending on where you're stuck at, it could be very bad for you. So I think that like that's the reason for the overreach is too many people die and get themselves in positions. But I also think you should be free to do that.
I don't want to sound like a complete bootlicker, but I understand why it's a dry county, because you really do get this sense without electricity. We have become very used to in our world right now. No one even realizes it. Even if you consider yourself like a Ben Balderson, like somebody who legitimately lives off grid, the amount in his day that electronics are involved, that once that's not there, you end up with a lot of hours in a day. And very quickly you adapt to life without power. It's pretty crazy how quickly you just always have a flashlight on your hip, and now you're in a cold shower and you're very used to it and you're excited about your MRE. You're trading with your buddies. You don't even have phones to call. You get comfortable without 911. You know your neighbors a little better. It's interesting, but I've also gotten intoxicated during that boredom, and nobody's been on your street for a week. You've been the only house. You've been the only people you've seen. No one's driven down. The house across the street is missing a roof. Down the street, there's like a light car flipped over into a tree. And you're like, I don't know what happened here. But you're the only one. And then you're like, I wonder what's inside these houses. You're
Get
like
yourself
not
shot real quick.
Yeah, you're not thinking about doing anything nefarious. You just become that you're in a different reality than a real reality. Like you're just in this state of boredom, and life without electricity gets a whole different set of rules.
I guess. I think, and if you've seen too many Twister movies and you're like, let me just go wander around.
You do. And here's the crazy stuff that in a Florida hurricane, people will say it's AI type shit where it's just like your city street, downtown Orlando, 14-foot gator walking across the street. Like, what, bitch? And people will be like, that's AI. I imagine that same kind of stuff is going to happen during this. You're going to see like Wolfpack walking in downtown Minneapolis, no pun intended. Because I want to like bring this conspiracy in with like the 4D and 5D. But I wonder how much wildlife doesn't give a fuck about this kind of stuff in the same way they don't with the hurricane.
I don't think they don't have an option to whether they give a fuck or not. It just happens to them, right?
Like, this is it. Do you think they're like fucking chemtrails?
I think that they probably feel the tinge a little bit, and they probably taste the microplastics that we all talk about. I think that they actually taste it. Like, they could probably feel it a little bit more than us.
Layla, I hope you feel better tonight. We love you so much. And if you want us to talk about anything, you obviously have carte blanche around here, young lady.
I want to know when we're invading Greenland. I'm sick of the teasing.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because this is my next part of the conspiracy. And I appreciate that you'll play around in things, but you stay really logical. You're not like a person that you're like, you know what I feel about this?
I don't want to. I don't want to be like that.
I like it. You're not like Candace Owens where you're like, I had a dream about this and I feel like Charlie Kirk came to me and told me he was a time traveler. And I just appreciate it. Not that you won't come to that same conclusion and on a whole different route. But
and I won't take that away from someone either. It's just not my
I
shared experience.
Was talking about how I think one of the weird parts, the weird psyops of that is them mocking something like dreaming when we know the Russians have been spending millions of dollars to try to hack dreams for decades and decades and decades. So somebody having a prolific dream, it would be weirder if it didn't exist. Like
not just that, but even if you were to be like the most logical about it, the amount of innovation that comes from dreams and the amount of time people spend in their dreams, and even just like historical tales about when generals would decide to attack based on dreams they had, you know, it's very much like one of the most powerful things that you could control if there was a way to control that for somebody. So of course the military is looking into how to do this. It's probably so important that we don't even, it's not even top secret. It's like you don't even talk about it top secret.
This is stick a pin because we're gonna go back to fucking Greenland. But you know, we always do weird stuff here, and I do think it is interesting that we just called it whiteout. Yeah, it's winter, but then this whole thing's happening this week. I always like to pay homage to what we talked about or shit that went down last week, where, like, this week, an elephant killed 20 people in India. And I'm like, what the hell? Elephants on the timeline. So we have all these people that are going to see this show, like, just on one YouTube channel alone, at least 1,000 people are going to see this show. That 1,000 people can give a little bit of energy to think about Layla. Whatever your faith may be, you could spend a little time in that faith and spend money, send some energy to Layla that she feels better, and anyone else you know that may be affected with a bioweapon. Maybe it's just a normal common cold. But anyways. Now, I'm not saying Layla's affected with a bioweapon, but I do think it's interesting at Davos that Trump said, leaning forward, we can protect you. We got the biggest army in the world. We can protect you from a lot of things, but we can't protect you from dust, like wherever COVID came from. So we'll look into those speeches later. China. I want Abbie to come too, so we can maybe go through some Davos speeches. But I thought it was interesting because Greenland is called Greenland because it's covered in ice. And ice is called Iceland because, or at least this is this bullshit they told us throughout our life. So I feel like we're under this ice spell. There's this ice storm and ice raids. It just seems very icy to me. And I was wondering if you think there could be any legs to this.
I mean, the most logical that I can concede is that the ice raids might have been timed with the winter season so that the public perception of just the concept of ice is still being tied to like your nostalgic view of Christmas and wintertime and all that, as opposed to doing it in the summer. Because if you look at most of the worst riots ever, like what was the New York blackout? It's in the middle of the summer. It's because people are like super hot and super uncomfortable. Um, if it's in the winter, like they don't have as much energy to exert on top of that. You know what I mean? So I think that strategically, there's a million reasons why the whole ice rollout is happening, throughout now. Like it's the perfect time to do it. Yeah, and also if it was happening during the summer, there'd be all kinds of horrible like melt the ice memes. We're probably going to see that because it's going to continue.
That's what I was actually wondering too. And if I wanted to get everybody to do a warming spell, like let's make summer come early this year, I would put all this heavy ice bullshit in an ice storm. So collectively, liberals are like, we want to get rid of ice in our cities. This is unconstitutional. We hate ice in our cities. They're doing that. And then conservatives, they're in a lot of these Midwest states that are going to get hit with this ice storm or lose power if you're south of that or north of that potentially, that they're like, we need to get rid of this damn ice. We got to get this ice out of here. So in a weather witch spell, everybody wants down with ice. It's just a different kind of ice. And I think magic works in a way that the word, the spell, the chant is powerful even if you don't know what you're chanting.
I think that too, the ice being happening like right now, I might have a hot take on it. I think it is government overreach.
Mhm.
And I also think that winter time is the perfect time for government overreach. Like the main examples would be Pearl Harbor, and the other main example, the Christmas time was the Federal Reserve. 1913 is when they actually passed that Federal Reserve. I believe they did it in like the midnight hour when Christmas break was on, and they had like 14 people there to vote, just enough people to pass a vote because they know people are preoccupied and they don't want to stick around. And so it's again, like over the holidays between the tail end of Halloween and into the new year, like right around now is the perfect time to do any kind of government overreach because people are so preoccupied and already in a good mood that you can do worse things to them than you can at any other point at the time.
It's kind of making me, I was today years old and I'm getting less and less shameful about the shit I don't know because I hear people like they think intelligence tests and it's just like you're allowed to learn something and then just retain it. Like you can just have this. It just dawned on me right now. Who the fuck would take you know what? Let's plan this epic voyage across the Atlantic. Let's do it in the dead of the winter. Like who would ever do that? Yeah, of course you would take a cruise in the summertime. What the fuck were they doing even on a new cruise boat? And in all the years of all these boats, have you ever even seen a boat anywhere in the Atlantic that's like, look at this iceberg?
Well, if you go with the ice smelting theory, where they were melting down gold in international waters, and they had to do it in a place that was so cold to balance out the amount of heat, which is what compromised the hull. And the reason why I think it was engine room 11 or 13 was on fire for like 5 or 6 days straight. That's why it was in Arctic water. It was, and then that gold was used to fund the actual origins of the IRS. Like that was all connected. Like the Titanic and the IRS getting passed, both were directly connected in that way.
So like the smelting of this gold in a way to keep the ship cooler the entire time, it had to be cold water.
My favorite Titanic sinking theory, yeah, is that they took cars and bedposts and old frames that were made out of pure gold and then painted to look like it was not gold, like old iron or something. And then once it was on the boat, if it got into that engine room that was on fire for all those days, they were smelting it and they were turning it into gold bricks. And then they were basically putting, like counterfeit stamps on them so that when they were able to get, and this, depending on how far down this rabbit hole you go, this is also the reason why all of the skateboats weren't there. It wasn't hubris. It wasn't like, oh, we don't need them because this boat's so great. It was because they used those to offload all the gold and to get that off the shore to fund the Federal Reserve. and then afterwards they just said, "Oh, we didn't have enough boats for everybody." Again, I don't know if that's 100%, but it's my favorite one for sure.
That's so crazy because I think in gold's an old technology like melting gold, but a new technology is AI, and all of it you have to keep cool. And I think we also debate about ancient technology. And when you look into the Nazis and you look into the Thule or the Thule Society, depending on what way you pronounce it, which is the Vril Society, when you go all into that stuff, that's all North Pole. It's all Atlantean. It's all, I would argue, the area of Greenland. And so I think it's curious if you're ancient AI and you have to stay cool, that would be a perfect place.
It's logical, yeah. I don't disagree with that. If you wanted to have a supercomputer, why wouldn't you have it in Antarctica, right? That seems like a great, or the North Pole. It seems like a great place, unless the poles shift. But then I guess the whole world's got bigger problems to deal with if that happens.
I think that Antarctica too is hella interesting. And they're like, the Nazis wanted to get to Antarctica. They wanted to get to Antarctica. And everybody also wanted to get to the North Pole. It makes me wonder if they're one and the same in this like Mobius strip somehow way. Like, do you have to go up to get down? Do you have to go to either of them to get through the portals that are quote unquote space?
I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't shock me completely if you got to the North Pole, and because I believe that there are international agreements on the North Pole and the South Pole. Like, you can't just freely hit either one, or at least there's regions that are under like a joint, agreement that you can't just wander into. Maybe in those areas you can just jump from one to the other. Like, that would be kind of the ultimate secret. So I wouldn't doubt something like that could potentially exist, and if it did, that it would be protected.
I don't know what movie talks about this, but they say, or if it's like The Matrix or whatever, but they say like our reality is like, let's say it's a flat cloth. Hold on one second.
It's going to be Inception.
Boom. Yay. Burr, 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 burr. Abbie's here. Abbie's here. Finally, we can really start the show now that Abbie's here.
Play the intro.
I'm
just
going to
kidding.
play the end. Let's do. Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? I'm not really doing it.
I just
But that
lost
was
my
part
screen.
of the spell. Now that you're here. Let me give us a little more room so we can stretch out. So we can eat wings.
That's
We
better.
can have some elbow room.
I'm in my pajamas.
You're allowed to be. It's Secret Society of Good Guys. The amount of
Thank
time
you, I
I'm
fucking
business on the top and party on the bottom when we're on the show.
Right?
I never really got to work in the office setting like everybody did during lockdowns, where they got to pretend like, oh, look, and I'm all at work. But really, there was all the ways people were trying to fool their boss they were there.
I don't think I've done
Yeah.
Office since like
Shut up, I'm not.
2016, 2017. It's almost been a full year.
It must be nice.
Sorry, it's almost been a full decade of not having to be in an office.
Yeah, I feel like I was 2021. I had marketing. I had to sometimes pop in offices, but I worked from my car. I shopped for a living and was like, oh, this will be cute. I'm going to bring this to nurse so-and-so. Isn't that
Sounds like
that's
fun,
such a
kind of.
healthy medical system?
Chaney's
my
wearing a
gosh.
thong.
Can you even imagine? Don't imagine it. I'm the queen of comfort around here. That's not my...
You don't
I
like
don't wear.
this going
I
up your
usually don't
butt?
wear shit that you need a thong. Like, usually women wear a thong because they're wearing tight something that they don't want
Yeah.
underwear lines. That isn't my style. Abbie's thonging it up right this second. Think about Abbie in a thong.
Dude, I wore my underwear inside out today. Didn't realize it till I got to work. I was like, it's one of those days.
That's how you get double the lifespan out of it, right?
I guess so.
One's inside out and one's right side out.
I hate that. I
You're
hate
like,
it. I hate the
I'm
different
so
material.
not put together.
Happy Friday. But you're in Oklahoma. I don't know what we're talking about before you got here. We'll go back to it. But you're in Oklahoma, so what's going on there? Currently, our boots on the street with the superstorm. Boop 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 boop.
Well, the snow has begun. It's already like coming down pretty hard, and it's been mass chaos actually. Just the last couple of days, you can't do a Walmart pickup. You probably can try to do a delivery, but anyway, the stores are sold out of everything, every grocery store. And yeah, then today I got all my shit done yesterday. My neighbors are an elderly couple, and the man just had surgery. He had this huge fistula in his arm for dialysis. They had to remove it, and I had to take them to go get groceries and stuff today and run around all auto parts store, all these different places. I'm like, it wore me out. It's a little crazy out there.
How do you remove a fistula? Isn't a fistula like a hole?
It's like I don't know, because he does dialysis, so like
Do
they
you
put
guys
one
think
in his
this is
other arm. It took a lot.
clickbaity?
It took like 4 or 5 times for them to get it done.
But I thought a fistula was when like something gets removed and there's like a hole left over. Like a fistula is like the missing part.
It looked like he had this big old winding like bicep, but it was just this thing that they used to do his dialysis, and so then they removed that, but they call it a fistula. I don't
Getting
know.
old's gonna be sweet. Sounds awesome. The more I hear
Yeah.
about it, it's like awesome.
It is
That's why we're
kind of
not doing
crazy.
it.
Your body breaks the F down.
It's the
Yeah, we're
closest
not
we'll
doing
get
it
to be
the same way.
Transformers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm not buying
Ooh.
that story.
Hey.
What's the clickbait? What's this? Tina Turner?
Oh, this was the clickbait that I did. Do you think it's clickbait if I run this for a little while? Mass chaos has been reported in Oklahoma. The snow has started.
Here we go.
Yeah, so people know we are talking about the weather anomaly of this year, because we did not have any hurricanes this year that touched the ground in the United States. So it is
Oh,
curious
wow.
that they do always have to give like
Well, they just spun HARP back up last year, right? Last year they spun it back up for the first time in a long time. So I feel like they need to wait a few years until something big happens. Otherwise, it'll be too obvious if it just happens like the first year or the second year after it turns on. And I guess I'm being hopeful. With that.
we were talking about something right before Abbie got here. Audience, remind us. I told Thomas, stick a pin. He was talking about something, and then
I
jumped off
vaguely
topic.
remember it. Greenland. We talked about Greenland.
Yeah, we talked about Greenland.
That was it. The pin was Greenland.
Let's see, but what was it about Greenland specifically?
If
Donald
we're ready
Trump's
to
bruise?
invade it or not.
Donald Trump's what?
Bruise on his hand.
Oh, that was kind of funny. Did you see
It
that?
was.
That his bruise was shaped like Greenland.
Yeah.
Is that why he's angry?
It's just funny that the internet, yeah, it's shitty. There's all this shitty stuff too, and there's all this, but there really is a legitimate stranger once a day that makes me LOL, where I'm just like, you're so stupid. I like that stuff. Okay. HARP was shut down for 2 years. And everybody is posting that their chemtrails were crazy. Even like normal people were posting pictures of their skies.
Just a couple of days ago, it was like I'm walking through the weird dusty. It wasn't fog. It was weird. I don't know. And then I felt awful today. That's why I'm so late. Like I went to sleep. I was gonna take a nap around 6:30, and I slept until like straight on through pretty much the show. But I don't feel great, so I think I'm gonna agree with them.
I gotta always bring this up whenever chemtrails comes up, because it's something that if you say the word, people will laugh and they'll like snicker about it and like, oh, that's crazy stuff. It'll forever be in the congressional record, HR 2977, which was the very first one that was passed after 9/11, which makes it significant. And it was this huge packet. And in that packet, and all kinds of crazy things that people were willing to disclose after this huge tragedy, right? In that packet, it explicitly defines chemtrails as an exotic weapons system. So I mean, it is clearly defined by the government directly after 9/11 that chemtrails are a real thing, and that it's been acknowledged that it's a real thing, and that it's related to exotic weapon systems.
So stop calling it a conspiracy theory,
Stop
damn it.
calling it conspiracy theory. Sometimes people are like, well, anyone could have put that into a, like, yeah, sure, but it also means that this is not just some random forum somewhere where people are like LARPing. Like, this actually made its way all the way to someone had to put it into a bill, which, you know, for however reason it got there, it's in congressional record for the rest of our lives, and hopefully hundreds of years in the future until they scrub it out and say the government never even mentioned chemtrails.
That was HR 2977.
HR 2977.
Write it down, y'all.
You're on notice.
The looking up the bills, I think, is actually super important, and it's interesting the executive orders that go through, and then it's interesting a whole bunch of stuff that people run on the name of the thing, but the thing never actually goes through. They have no intentions of it going through, but there's all these creepy things like that, whether it's like the COVID swab inside the nose actually spreading stuff too. That's been proven. It's not conspiracies. It's not.
What about the nose swab?
That there's like different patents. Those ones are patents, which are different than like looking up actual bills and things. But there's things that you can actually look up where people are like, that's a crazy conspiracy. And you're like, but it's not a conspiracy at all.
Well, yeah, chemtrails, for example, there's a patent on it from the late 70s, I believe. I can never remember the guy's last name. It starts with like a L, like Lundgren or something. But he was the one that first came up with the patent for it, and he explicitly said that one of the uses was to spread powdered aluminum into the atmosphere so that it would reflect the ultraviolet rays back out into space, which would help us prevent this oncoming, you know, back then when it was global warming.
And, you know, Layla has talked about Faraday cages, and I think there's ways we can protect ourselves from things, and then there's ways we can lock ourselves into harmful things. And so it's just like if they're meddling us in a box, if they're like kind of locking us in with all these metals, then they can do it. I feel like, let's say 5G is this harmful thing. It goes a lot further if you're boxed in with a ceiling. So it's not just chemicals. You might be smart dust, which also reminds me of Ellen with her trust the smart people in this smart dust.
The best part about smart dust is you don't have to trust it. Once it's there, it's there. Like, you can't. It's just like what Donald Trump was saying, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you protect against dust?
That's it. You know what you'd have to do? Start wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And then imagine now it flips. Then you have all these, like, I'm a patriot. I'm putting my mask on. There's smart dust out there. That's always the way it goes. It's like one side and then the other side.
On a long enough timeline, that's real, right? It's 100% real that smart dust can be weaponized and sent out into the air to just control people.
But we'd all be wearing like the tank girl freaking what's it called, masks, you know, the
yeah, but I mean, if all it takes is just for one to get in, I think like everyone's screwed. That like you can't be 100% all the time unless you're in like an underground bunker, and even then, a piece of dust, like pieces of dust, can get into some pretty secure locations, right?
Yeah, you'd have to like have the blowers every time you walked in. You'd have to have the full suits, hazmat suits.
You go into your house.
Which is how every single outbreak movie starts. Are people in those suits, right? So even then, you're still screwed.
Yeah, one like, oh, my pipe busts. Like you always know, every movie, if it starts in one of those kind of suits in those laboratories, somebody's cutting themselves, a mouse is going to bite them, or a tube's going to unplug. And they're going to go as fast as they can. They're going to run as fast as they can to spray themselves in that. That stuff never works. It's never helped one time in an outbreak situation.
It's always stressful as hell.
That machine right now is so upset. It's like, you don't know how many lives we saved that don't get out there.
Also, in those movies, when you see like their lab partner that closes the door, and it's like, no, please let me out. I've got a kid. We're friends. Yeah, and the partner's just like, sorry, you have to die. I don't think anyone in the audience watching this is like, that's so unfair. He should have let him out. It's like the one time that you can kill somebody and you're like, it's okay. No,
There's the red button on the wall, and you're like,
Well, because it's the same idea, like the zombie movies when somebody gets bit and they fucking hide it, and you're like, that motherfucker. Like, they know better, I don't know.
I tell people that I love if we're like talking shit, sitting around a campfire or whatever, late night conversation. I'm like, you better shoot me right between the eyes if I fucking zombie. Don't put me in a room and try to be like, I'm going to save you one day and turn you back. Like, you're going to get bit eventually because I'm tricky.
I'm going to eat your brain.
I'm tricky.
So you might as well just kill me.
I'll be doing some crazy shit. You'll be like, oh no, that zombie's dying. I'm not. I'm playing possum. I'm doing something tricky. Don't trust me even. Oh shit. We were talking about Greenland and something too. Iceland, National Guard, illegal M's. If there were going to be a whole bunch of arrests in Minnesota because of a whole bunch of illicit fraud that's been going through there, you might have to do it under a different. I think we would arrest a Somali. And cold weather.
One or two, or maybe three, or maybe even like seven, but like to the scope that it really is, I don't think it would ever go that far.
Maybe seven, like the Nuremberg, where people talk about like, did you know in the Nuremberg trials, I'm like 12 people were like convicted. Like it's something very not impressive.
And not all 12 of them even got convicted to death. A lot of them got to live out their lives.
Yeah, it's something
like
really
in
disappointing.
Argentina or United States or something.
Well, the Argentina were the ones that like didn't go to trial. They skipped out on it. The ones that did go to trial, not even all of them ended up getting the death penalty or anything. A lot of them ended up old men. And then you've got an even longer list of guys that ended up becoming children's show hosts on Disney Channel.
That's
True.
wild.
Or the head of the space agency. So do you think in a way, like let's say you're the biggest company in the world, like Amazon or SpaceX, you're Elon, you have all these companies. In the same way as the United States, you're like, I want in on this money laundering. Like your company gets big enough that you're like, I want to say I'm putting money towards something too. We need to rent somewhere. So eventually your company's allowed to play in the space cartoon.
I get it, but I also, maybe I'm naive here, but I think that if you've got legitimate business, then like let's pretend that Tesla and X and all the other endeavors that Elon Musk, let's just consider it's legitimate business. You've already doing a legitimate business. It seems like it would just not be worth the risk reward for even if you made 200 million, off of this like fraud, because you still got to cut all the 200 million it's kind of like when the cops pull someone over and they weigh how much drugs, but they include the weight of the backpack and it's like they had 2 pounds or whatever, right? Like even in these fraud cases, even if it's 200 million or even 2 billion, that's also including like all the people that had to get their palms greased and all the different resources that got paid. So at the end of the day, someone's probably walking away with like maybe a couple $1 million. And I don't think that Elon Musk or someone at that level or anyone doing legitimate business making real money would compromise themselves for that small amount. But you know who would? Politicians, because they know that they could get away with it. And anyone that has some kind of legal understanding of like, well, I can just claim this legal defense and I'll be able to get out of it. Because I know like if you have those connections and you know how to like maneuver through those paths, then all day long they just print money doing it.
And here's another thing too, like it's not just shooting fake rockets into potentially fake space. Elon's playing in things that are like SpaceX satellites that if something was the size of a Volkswagen that was flying as high as a SpaceX satellite, could you see it? Why is there light sources on it like this? It's like these dots in the sky. So then in just a way of like maritime law or the Antarctic Treaty. The entire world is like, this rando billionaire can fly his satellites over our country and it's fine. This is
Yeah.
totally A-okay. Like the levels of kooky cocky that I kind of have to believe in to believe some of the stuff about space, SpaceX. It's just like,
Because
huh.
airspace now is, there's no fly zones. There's you can't just like
Yeah, I
charter
can't
a
even
plane and
fly
decide to
over-
fly it wherever the fuck you want. You have to like actually check in, tell people where you're going, give them your flight path, all those things. Like it would be illegal.
You
to do
can't
that.
even take a blimp
you can do
over
that
the
to space?
Super Bowl, but you can take a SpaceX satellites over Iran right now.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, there is some kind of level of like, those are drones. People see him in the
Okay.
sky because his brother owns a drone company, and it's the way they launder the money.
The normie rational explanation would be like, well, maybe Iran doesn't have the resources to send something out into space and deal with these. Maybe they've tried. Maybe they just aren't able to do it. Maybe they have tried and they've gotten away with it a few times. And in order for it to not become like a big global emergency, it's just kind of kept hush hush, and people like pay each other off. Like it turns into like a lawsuit, right? Where someone just settles out of court. I feel like that probably happens all the time. It just, they turn into little hostage and blackmail situations.
This is another thing, like Marie, speaking of airspace, we were talking about this week because I did some research and found out like Florida, Tennessee, a couple states, they've signed bills. No more chemtrails. Everybody knows, unless they're crazy, that if you look up in the sky, there's been chemtrails. It's nothing stopped in these states that say no more chemtrails. So the state only owns 500 feet of airspace. So it's really just this like totally fake bill that has nothing to do with nothing.
It's
That
supposed to
if
make you guys feel good about it.
yeah, in reality, what would have to happen next is like Mississippi, Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets a couple long-range missiles, and they say if we see another plane dropping chemtrails over our sky, we shoot on sight.
And yet,
It needs
like
like
all these
I don't care about
farmers
ice
and
as
ranchers
much,
like pay to have their freaking shit dusted constantly. So
but that's different than a chemtrail.
is.
Because it's
It
heavier
is.
chemical too, a lot of it. So it falls directly on, it's not, but I agree with you. There's so much, even in Florida, we get mosquito dropped and I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. This doesn't even make sense to me. It's about to rain. This is just to get in the waterways.
I'm just thinking, I mean, ranchers are smart, so I'm not like trying to, say anything about it, but I'm almost thinking like, you're like, well, I'm okay with them coming in and spraying my crops. Like, why wouldn't I be okay with them spraying this guy? Like, I don't know. I just think some
It's
people
like, I
just don't
vaccinate my
care.
cows. I might as well vaccinate my kids. This
Yeah.
is crazy.
We all take ivermectin. Which isn't
Well, at least
necessarily
it's
a bad
better
thing.
that way.
Yeah.
But maybe it wouldn't be Oklahoma, whatever. Some redneck state out there, Texas. Texas
Yeah.
is like, we're going to shoot on it. There's the state versus fed, like ICE, NG, like thing. I'd rather it be about chemtrails. I'd rather the state's National Guard release their warplanes on any plane that was dusty in the state and be like, sorry, we told you not to fly over our state. And if you drop it again on our people, we shoot on sight.
Love it.
I don't think that would ever
Back this
happen.
bill.
A million years, never happen.
Because here's the next question. How much of the space above that does just the Fed own? And then at what point can like whatever country, pick a country that you think is big, scary, USA, flying over and drop something above that? Like, is it just a constant who can fly the highest and drop them? Like, they're going to be dropping mercury, and mercury is dangerous if you drop it with this. So we're going to fly above them where we're allowed to fly, because everybody that's your enemy just cares where you're allowed to fly. Just the craziness that we pretend our enemies play by rules.
Yeah.
It's just the exact same as redcoats all standing in a line and we believed America became America because we all went crazy and ran in the woods. Like, like before that, there was etiquette to war. Like, I don't know.
Basically,
It just
the Patriot movie with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, just a lot of it seems like we just believe that everybody just abides by these things is crazy. Crazy. Anyways, my redneck was like, can we just shoot these planes out of the sky? Long range missile. I asked my
Well, that's how we
robot.
felt about the fucking drones too. You know, like the New Jersey thing. I'm like, that would never happen here. Everybody would shoot them down. But
What happens though too is that once people become accustomed, like, yeah, shoot them out of our skies, then when you have a plane that's legitimately bringing in supplies, then those get shot down too, and then that's the last supply plane you'll ever get in that town, and then that town just basically dies.
Just somebody's like, oh no, those were contrails. Like the one person who does it wrong. Like,
do you remember when there
Oh,
used to be
no.
contrails?
I know you never see them anymore, except for that one
Yeah,
month the governor
it's like
was.
the contrails are to chemtrails what the flu was to COVID.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
once you see the bad one, all of a sudden the good one goes away completely.
The good one, isn't it?
Did you guys hear sonic booms a lot where you grew up? I don't know if that was just like a thing where I lived because I lived like right next to a naval air station, like by the.
When I was
top end
on
station.
Air Force Base, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I've heard one. I heard that they fly faster or whatever. They don't break the sound barrier or something like that. But
Here in Florida, we think they hit the firmament.
Everyone in Florida thinks that.
Everybody but Thomas.
Because I'm not from Florida. I'm a transplant.
Us here in Florida, we're like, oof, that one hit the firmament hard. That one skipped the firmament like a rock off a lake.
That's what happened to the Challenger. The Challenger hit the firmament.
If you notice the Challenger, I will just say, different of every other rocket. Every other rocket does an arc. I felt like the Challenger was trying to go a little too straight up. It was trying to go a little too straight up, but there was no one aboard, so it's fine.
Have you been to the Challenger exhibit at Kennedy Space Center?
No.
So they've got a little like memorial wing that has all the different people, and it was crazy because the Challenger was supposed to be a collection of all these normal all-American people, right? They had like a guy that was into karate, and they had a school teacher, and they picked all these people out. It wasn't just the traditional, allegedly, it wasn't the traditional like military guys, right? They purposefully
And
went out and found
engineers.
normal people that were more relatable, and then flew them up into space and killed them, as in a way of being like, hey, if you're just a normal teacher, if you're just some guy that likes karate, you die if you try and go into space. This is not for you. This is for trained professionals and not for amateurs. And I just think that it was like one extra calculated way to just gatekeep a little bit. And if not, then maybe it was just a supreme coincidence that ends up working in favor of anyone that does want to monopolize space. If space is real, if you want to go down that road.
Have you heard that the Pentagon pretty much admitted, or the Department of War, that we have, like, when we went in for Maduro, we just had weapons that melted faces off?
Oh, that sounded like
energy
Stranger
weapons.
Things. Huh?
Like energy weapons.
Yeah, but that was like literally the last season of Stranger Things too.
Face melting weapons.
I mean, those sound weapons and shit. I don't know about face melting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same thing. It just kind of like vibrates the skin right off of you.
Yeah. Wow.
Oof. Oofsta. That would be some feeling.
That's probably still better than whatever the weaponized smart dust ends up being.
Maybe it is sonic weapons. I've seen so many things and heard so many talks about it today. Stay on your break. Unless you're in a very cold space and you get locked down. Sometimes you need it for sanity. Get all your warmest blanket. No, don't smoke a joint in your warmest blankets.
And none of that stupid fire retardant, newfound crap. You got to use the old stuff that like great grandma used to wear.
That old stuff, she could just go right up on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I know new kids wouldn't even have time to stop, drop, or roll because their plastic clothing would just melt to their skin.
Do you remember that was one of my favorite conspiracies growing up was the spontaneous combustion, but it seemed like it stopped happening right as I
Yeah.
learned about it, and it didn't really come out as often. And I do think that it's interesting that's also right around the time that all the flame retardant finishes and clothing started coming out, but no one really got sued necessarily over all that spontaneous combustion. Like I think that it was legitimately like products were catching on fire and all of the corporations were like, let's just sneak this behind Bigfoot. Let's sneak this between Titanic and Bigfoot and just be like, oh, who knows? It's like, oh, ghosts. And then they won't have to pay out families because they basically caused all that death. I think that makes way more sense. And it's even more interesting than like, oh, I wonder what it is.
I think some conspiracies would definitely be good to start. Like even, we've noticed in the ebb and flow of the protests or riots or hoopla in the country, it tends to happen when people can take off work. Like during times they were all getting paid for jobs they never even held depending on the state you were in, you would get like $80,000 a week just to stay at home during lockdowns. So the weekends are usually busier protests. We're headed into the weekends. It would be so hard pressed for me to stand outside in an ice storm. Like it would have to be some sort of cause for me to stand outside.
But even if you're outside,
an
who
ice
who
storm.
are you holding your sign up for? They're not outside either.
They're not outside.
No.
And the cameraman is like, I'm sorry, the 10 of you that brave this aren't worth the
He's
airtime."
zooming he's inside the Waffle House, zooming
call this a
in through
protest?
the window across the street and like trying to get you in focus. But
So it is kind of, and also because there wasn't a hurricane this year, I think like the Weather Channel, the forecast, the broadcast, the spellcast of this magic that they do, no one paid attention to them all year. So this is their snowpocalypse. This is their
Oh, yeah.
snowphilia.
Well, and there's an ice spell, I'm sure you guys have already touched on that, but sure seems like we're
Yeah, we can reopen those can of worms because they don't even move. Cold worms don't go anywhere.
so
about
not just ice, but ISIS. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, that's a good ad. ISIS, ice spell. It's
I was
ISIS.
thinking, like ice, the deportation of it all, Minnesota and all of it.
Do you think that it's crossed Rob Van Winkle's mind for just a second that he's like, this could be my time to come back out? Like, this could be the time to bring back Vanilla Ice and Ice Ice Baby.
I'm surprised he
Well.
hasn't already. I'm surprised that
Yeah.
there's not like a Bees in the Trap remix with.
Well,
Ice Ice
our
Baby.
fan said that
If
he was
there were a
doing it
time
at
to do
the at Mar-a-Lago a couple weeks ago, that he was singing it.
Is this true? I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they've somebody in the audience had said it for like
Oh, I guess we're not allowed to talk about.
I know. Apparently, Rob Van
Rob.
Winkle is a little
they
Rip
didn't like
Van
the
Winkle.
singer.
There we go.
What about if he just
Yeah.
fell
That's
asleep
his
for
name, right?
100
Rob,
years?
isn't it Rob Van Winkle, or did I make that up?
That would be so crazy if Vanilla Ice
think-
fell asleep for 100 years. So stupid, you guys. I'm sorry. For those of you who might be catching this at some time, it is 1:14 a.m. in the morning on the East Coast. And it just gets dumber the more marijuana I smoke at this point. Okay. Sorry. So he did sing at the White House, Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, I didn't verify, but I heard it on 2 Fridays.
All of a sudden, Rob Van Winkle has fake news. I think he has a real estate agency in,
In Florida.
yeah, South Florida somewhere. Vanilla Ice. It's not the same as Under Pressure.
Weren't there furries at Mar-a-Lago? They did do the dog thing, didn't they? The dog days or whatever.
Dog homes.
Dog
homes?
what?
Yeah.
dog comms where they had the dog furry party at Mar-a-Lago. They looked all Marie Antoinette with dog heads.
It was weird.
Apparently, I don't know. I've heard so many weird conspiracy theories about it, and then I've just heard easy stuff like we could rent a room at Mar-a-Lago. You just have to be sponsored by somebody at the club or become a member. So
Nice.
anyone, like, we could have our own dog party. We could have our own secret society of good guys meeting.
That'd be so awesome.
We just have to get sponsored by somebody or become members of Mar-a-Lago.
I feel like you would also 100% be on a list, and your children and your grandchildren would also be on a list for the rest of their lives if you did that.
I think they already are. And
No,
I don't
they-
have to worry about my
could
children
be,
or the
but-
grandchildren.
But you would definitely be if you went to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Mar-a-Lago. It's nice though. Like as far as places go, I'm like, ooh.
I guess. I mean,
Bet there's
anywhere
good
with a
food.
nice air conditioning in Florida, I don't know. Like, how nice does it really have to get?
Well, I mean, you could go and look at things like the Vatican where you could maybe see the Ark of the Covenant.
I've been. It wasn't that comfortable in
Seriously.
the Vatican. You can't. There's like no chairs that you can sit in anywhere, and like you got to be super quiet. And
It seems too crowded to me, the Vatican. Like if shit hit the fan, you could not get out fast. You're just trapped in a fucking city with walls.
well, yeah. I mean, I just imagine Pompeii. Like that's what happens when it hits the fan over there. Like you're just there. The
Just,
one guy that just like started furiously like ending his life.
Pompeii. Yeah, what else with the ice spell, Abbie? Ice, ice, baby. The ice storm. Iceland, Greenland. If you have anything else, feel free. to bring it up.
No, nothing. No, I thought of a few things to talk about tonight, and since my 5-hour nap.
Well, what do you guys think about DARPA? Brr, 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 brr. Thomas has been so excited about the meeting in Davos for weeks now.
But
What do
DARPA is
you
where
guys
we get
think?
all of our best video games from. Honestly, I think that whatever delays there are for GTA 6 is DARPA related.
Because they have to like meet with Alex Soros and decide what like underlayer or like if Gavin Newsom is like, okay, you can use San Francisco this time.
Like you're allowed to kill gays in the gay parade, but you get 6 stars. Versus if you just kill a rando, then you only get 2 stars. Like there's actual negotiations happening at that level before the game comes out. But I also think that when DARPA's involved, DARPA's like, how much power are you going to show is possible with consumer hardware? So you can only push it X far. Like you might have to throttle it down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good point. Do you have like a touch base, Abbie, of the Davos thing? Because I think for us, there's like a couple meetings that happen, and Donald Trump is going over there. He's flying over. And then we all get word that Donald Trump turns around like over the Atlantic and flies back to DC. And then I think there is like a gas leak or something, or some kind of weird
Yeah,
protest there, and a whole bunch of people get evacuated.
the fire department comes in and evacuates. Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit. And then I don't know. Yeah, because that's where like he kind of brokered a deal with Putin and everything too, right?
And well, that is so he goes there and he pretty much tells them, because it's kind of funny because I think it's Klaus Schwab that says they'll own nothing and be happy. I think those are his words. And so he says at Klaus Schwab's hoorah, you're not allowed to buy houses in America anymore because I
Yeah.
won't let Americans be renters in their own country. And then he quits the WEF for America. Then he starts the peace thing. Then right after that, Trump or Putin comes out and he's like, I'll donate $1 billion to it. I'll join it. But Trump has to recognize Palestine. And so then it's like, oh,
Like on a map. Like he has to be able to just point to it.
he has to be able to point to it. And with that, you remember how there was the whole talks too? That's what I was like, are we buying Greenland for Israelis or Palestinians? Like, are we about to relocate a whole party of people to another part of the world?
Well,
Like, what's
imagine if
happening?
every asylum seeker and everyone that did want to immigrate for, non-commercial reasons, like non-business reasons, if when they showed up and it's like, oh, you want to be safe? Well, we've got a safe place for you. And that's basically like the first stop until I guess you you work your way up and then you can come to the mainland.
Greenland becomes the United States' Australia or the France's Louisiana, where we just send all of our best and brightest there. And because Trump also this week said we're going to bring back insane asylums to America, and he's going to put in a bid for the World's Fair in Miami for America. And I'm like, this is crazy.
We don't need the World's Fair is such an antiquated concept at this point. Who the hell actually shows up to the World's Fair? We've got conventions. Conventions are world fairs for things that you're specifically interested in.
What about if
I
it's
would
like
go.
free energy and like, oh, you win these contests to come with your invention and it's like a real Shark Tank?
That'd be badass. It'd be fun.
It could be a fun technology boom. Like if it was like, you know how people say like the World's Fairs, there's a bunch of technology that just gets buried because they're only going to sell us the upgrade. If the world gets to see the upgrade, it's hard to sell the in between. Like how many fucking decades have they been trying to put VR on our heads? It's crazy. You can look up videos in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's like not new technology. It just isn't catching on. Every year they just try to make it cheaper and cheaper, try to stack the tower higher in your toy store or your mall, or make the videos more exciting online. It just, I don't know. I think VR is kind of overrated until you can see through glasses like this into the real world more.
Well, that's it. That's the
yeah.
turning point, though. It's that the second it's not inconvenient for you, it'll be mass adopted, and then everyone's going to know about it, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." But
Do you
right
remember-
now, there's no convenient or comfortable way to go about it. You got to like be tethered to a computer, and there's all kinds of configuration. Like even if you get the top of the line stuff, it's still very clunky. Like you're going to look back in 50 years and think about this the same way that grandparents are like, we used to have an entire floor at the building that had the IBM server in it and it stored everyone's phone number. That was like that's the version that people are going to look back on and think that they're seeing like the Oculus Rifts or whatever.
You would have to have like the whole like haptic suit set up, so you'd have the whole sensory experience and like moving floors and stuff. But did you guys ever watch that movie Toys with Robin Williams?
Yeah.
And they're
Sure,
doing
really good
their do you remember where she puts the little probe or whatever for the VR up her nose, the robot girl? And she's like, this is kind of inconvenient. And she's like, the smell thing. And he's like, oh, that's not for a smell. It doesn't go up your nose. She's like, oh, yeah, I didn't think it felt very comfortable. But I always think of that.
Well, in a way of the Running Man, or not the Running Man, Total Recall or The Matrix, isn't that just VR?
Yeah. Or it's like kind of like a DMT trip is what it seems like.
Like, but it's just you get that full sensory thing. You
Yeah.
get something put in your brain, and then it convinces you you're doing a thing.
The thing. Yeah. We're going to Mars.
Well, because right now it's external, so it's about like putting something in front of your eyes, and then your eyes are seeing the fake thing, and then like when you talk about haptic suits, that's still a thing that's on you,
Yeah.
that's exerting like for the real the version of it that I think will be mass adopted is like, here, just inhale this, and then the little nanobots can attach themselves to your optic nerve and to your olfactory glands, and just know that if they put out a certain amount of electricity to a certain frequency on this exact spot, you'll smell brownies. Or if I do it in, to this part of your optic nerve, then you'll see this color in this region. And once you've refined it to that point, then it just becomes ubiquitous. Now it's not even, do you like VR? It's just like, hey, inhale. And before you're even like, inhale what? It's like you're already in the VR world.
It's a new drug.
Oh, look at this. We have a little visitor. Am I gonna accidentally flick it off once? Yep. Hi, my Maria 777. Can you hear us?
Long time
Okay.
no see. I can. Thank you.
How's your
Making a
snowpocalypse going?
making a midnight lasagna right now.
Ooh, that
Happy
sounds
New
good.
Year.
People
it's not
wouldn't
the new
know.
year. It's not. It's not equinox.
Oh, we gotta
My-
wait for April Fools to say Happy New Year now.
Or at least Chinese New Year if you're being a proper commie.
Yeah, I better
Mine-
get a red envelope if someone's wishing me a Chinese New Year.
Fair enough.
My new rule is I'm no longer wishing myself a happy birthday. This year I called it my happy birthday because I'm not making a deal with Artemis to take a year from me. So in that way, I don't really observe a happy new year either because time just
Do you think
is
it's
to me.
crazy that you made this thing this year and then you also blew out not just your birthday candle but mine?
Damn it.
Wait, I didn't blow my candle out. You blew the candles out.
No, I was puking.
Okay, I didn't blow the candle out, I swear, because I looked at
No, you were
I don't know what to
sweet. You
call
offered
him.
to save it. Like, you should take this for her. Anyways, I shared it here. So nobody blew out the extra candle. You didn't have to take the weight of the double Artemis ritual.
Anyways, whatever I did, I was like, this does not apply to me because if
No.
if you haven't talked about this to whomever's listening, can you like see the ritual of the birthday that you are people are chanting around you and there's fire involved and in exchange for a year of your life you get to make a wish.
Somewhere I thought I had a little My Maria. Oh, here it is. Boo, yeah. Let's see if I can make us move around it. Probably not. Oh, wait. I know what I can do. Look at this brilliance. Boom.
Check that out. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Cute.
Are you guys into little rituals? Are you into little Artemis rituals?
My daughter just turned 18 on Wednesday, and that was something we talked about. She was like, I'm only doing this until I'm 22. And I said, perfect.
I
So-
don't get crazy about rituals, but I am definitely pro ritual. But I don't really enjoy going overboard with it. But I think that rituals are fundamentally what keeps all of us together. And without them, there would be nothing left to bond people together.
Food. Everyone bonds over food.
But
Come on.
but that's literally a ritual. Even the eat 3 times a day is a ritual that kind of assists in that. That there's a lunch hour that if you go out to get like lunch between 11
Right.
and 2 or whatever, like other people are also getting food. That's a ritual.
But I'm thinking like ritual as far as like okay, let's barbecue this freaking pig. We're gonna sacrifice it to whatever. Like, we're not doing that.
I think we are though. I think it's the exact same thing. You're not explicitly calling out a god, but you're still doing all of the other ritualistic parts of it. Like you're still doing everything except for, and this one's for you, God. I'm pouring this one out for you. Like, but you don't have to do that because the ritual's the important part, not just like signing your name at the end of it. And like, because the God, like, if you were actually worshiping God in old times, for you to just go outside and point up in the sky and be like, yo, great job up there. Like, that's not what they wanted. They wanted the sacrifice or they wanted the ritual. So out of the two, you doing the ritual and not giving them props is still better than you giving them props but not giving them the ritual.
It does seem old school. The ritual was more important, like including building the entire building and lighting the whole effigy and, doing the whole sacrifice. The ritual was, that's why I think intentional ritual, if you don't know what you're up to, then you're just at the Super Bowl, but somewhere like Baphomet babies being born.
Yeah.
Or, what do you think, LL?
So I don't know. This kind of all ties into because that's one of the kicks I've been on this week is looking into Paul from the New Testament, like the Apostle Paul. And when I was first a Christian, like he kind of was the reason why I believed in Christianity because he's this like Pharisee that's like on the road and like literally killing Christians. And then he sees Jesus and he has this conversion. But then you go through and like almost every church preaches Paul because he's like the author of almost every book of the New Testament, except for Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and James and Revelation. I mean, there might be a couple others in there, but those are pretty much everything else is attested to Paul. And you start looking at all his stuff and what actually Jesus said, and the things that Jesus said pretty much like it was talk about false prophets and everything. It lines up with Paul. And then what Paul teaches, he's never taught anything that Christ taught in his life. He teaches what he was shown when he saw Jesus in the wilderness and Jesus in the back room, which is exactly what Jesus said, don't follow those people. And it's wild when you start looking at it, and it's like the whole basis of Christianity is based on this guy's message, and he's not even preaching Jesus. It's weird.
Is that I never even thought about it this way. Is Jesus the last sacrifice?
Yeah,
Well,
he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
The Jesus dying was supposed to be the end of any human sacrifice because no other human sacrifice could ever be as
Or animal
important as
sacrifice.
him. So it was supposed to be a symbol to the rest of all the other religions in the region to be like, all right, no more human sacrifice. We've done the best that there's ever going to be. So like advance, like do things beyond human sacrifice now. I think that was part of it. And even if people didn't believe that at like a spiritual level, it became the law like after that. I mean, give or take a millennia or so.
But even animal sacrifice, because animal sacrifice, that was what was, when he's turning the tables outside the temples and stuff, he's turning the tables because like basically you'd go and have to see the priest or whatever they're called and have them absolve you of sin, and they would say, okay, well, this little sin is going to cost you 2 doves, 2 flawless doves. And so you would go to the money changers outside and they would give you the right, because you're not supposed to be able to buy that stuff out there. Like it's all this illegal crap that they're doing just to get around the law. And
Well,
right
it's because
outside
they only had one coin that didn't have a depiction of a god on it, and it was the only coin that they were allowed to use for their tithing. So the money changers upped the price, like they inflated the price of the cheap coin that had the non-god on it, just because they knew that they weren't allowed to use any other coins. And I think that was another part of why the J-Man started flipping tables like the Ultimate Warrior.
It was that, and then the same money changers, they'd have to do money changing in order to get like your flawless sheep or whatever, to be a adequate sacrifice, because they're not going to sacrifice, just a sheep that has a couple black hairs or something like that. It has to be perfect. So otherwise it won't absolve you of your sin. So it was all related to that.
Well, that was the original food stamps program. That like the sacrifice where you had to sacrifice like a cow or whatever. Like if you look at how it was codified, even thousands of years ago, even like BC times, the versions of this, it wasn't just bring your cow into the middle of a fire pit and we like chant to a god. It was like, bring us a cow, we're going to quarter it, and 2 of them are going to go to these priests, and then one of them is going to go to like this guy over here, and that one's going to go to this guy over here because he had to go through something earlier in the year. And everyone coming together to do these like quote unquote sacrifices. It was really just a splitting up of everybody's wealth. It was like a wealth redistribution program that had a couple extra steps added to it.
Yeah, because Aaron's sons, Aaron is Moses' brother, and his sons were like the Levites or whatever. But his first couple of sons, they got in trouble with God because they were taking the best cuts of meat from the sacrifice.
That was what the Phoenicians started to blame their downfall, was because the rich people were starting to like farm children or buy children from poor families and then put them up for sacrifice instead of like putting their own kids up for sacrifice. So yeah, long enough timeline, people start figuring out ways to cheat the system.
Yeah.
And FYI, Maria, you can interrupt us anytime you want because I know sometimes your hands are probably in noodles if you're making a midnight lasagna,
Yeah,
which
I would
is
imagine so.
smart to do for prepping for storm because in hurricane prep when she's like, I'll just put it outside so it doesn't go bad. I'm like, like I said, we put something outside during a hurricane afterward. It's 90 degrees, 95 degrees.
Yeah, the issue doesn't become like keeping it preserved. The issue becomes how do you reheat it or keep it warm or let you have to start thinking in terms of how much water am I going to need too, because you can reconstitute just about anything, but if you don't have the water,
Are
like if
you
your
guys
pipes
all
are
in
frozen.
Florida?
I'm in Oklahoma. They're
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have anything yet?
Yeah, it's snowing here. How is it there?
Nothing yet. I think it's supposed to hit at like 5 or 6 a.m.
I woke up around 11 and it was maybe like not an inch yet, but it's going pretty good.
Sometimes I wish my camera did detached or yours did right now so you could walk outside. Or you should put a line so you're like, here's what it was when we talked, and here's an hour from now. How much more?
Not a bad idea. I sent you a video earlier though.
I napped before the show.
I didn't. I've been up since like 3 a.m.
Wow.
I
How do you
didn't
do
sleep
that?
well. I didn't sleep well last night. I was thinking about you both, though, being military. But then Maria was saying this year in general, she hasn't slept well the entire year. Do you guys feel any of this? Or you can go into it if you want to,
I've
Maria.
posted this on my stories recently. I'm a general insomniac, but it's just been exponentially increased lately. And so whenever I have issues like this, I always like check the Schumann, and then I, talk to the class and see what they have to say. But recently, I like to on my stories, if you follow me, like I introduce something and I try to like back it up with like an explanation of what that might be in case you don't know. So I was looking for my definition of Schumann and I couldn't find it readily. So I just like Googled it generally to get what I needed. And then I saw that Schumann is like a DARPA project. And I didn't know that until recently. Did y'all?
No.
The
I
Schumann
was right
resonance, yeah.
now years old.
Yeah, and like we talk about it all the time and the heartbeat and like of course like I can equate this to like a lost discussion here in a GIF if needed. But man, it really disheartened me to see that it is a government funded DARPA project.
Not surprised.
I think almost everything is, just because what'll happen is even if something's not DARPA discovered or funded, it can only get so far in the private sector, and once it hits its theoretical limits through resources, or it hits its limits through it becomes illegal to continue pursuing it, the only thing on the planet that's left would be like DARPA or some other like what's the CIA's like IQ, like venture capital arm, but IntelliQuotient or something like that. But like once it gets into their lap, well, now they can put gasoline on that fire that nobody else can put on it. They can run it through testing. They can bring it in outer space. They can weaponize it. They can do things that the private sector could never in a million years think about doing. And even if they did, they'd probably do some kind of skunk works version of it where they're not putting all their money into it. DARPA doesn't have to hold back on any of that stuff. But also, I think that they might not always be the most creative people. So then they can only bring it so far. And then they'll leak a like non-weaponized version back out into the private sector. And it's just like a volley back and forth forever. But DARPA's ultimately the ones that always have the coolest toys that can be weaponized the best.
Like the laser in Pure Genius.
And in Small Soldiers.
It's just not crazy tech. When people act like it's crazy tech, I'm like, a magnifying glass from high up is not crazy tech. This just
It's
isn't nutty. And if you can have a drone and a magnifying glass, you could do a lot of damage.
Seriously.
I
It's kind
just
of weird though that you're both insomniacs and then same birthday. That's weird.
Chaney and I live on a loop. You have no idea how like interconnected that we are.
That's what she said. You guys kind of have like the same storyline.
you know
It's
somewhere where you take a fork in the road, somewhere a fork in the road's different in avatar appearance, but our story is the same.
You have the same character arc.
Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah, sorry, I
I
interrupted.
wish I could
you.
elaborate further, but I just can't. Just
Understand.
Just trust us.
But it'll be like little things. Like it'll be tiny things in a day. Like I'll make stromboli and she'll be like, I just had the craziest hankering for stromboli. Like a weird one. She's talking about Italian food right now, so that doesn't
Yeah.
seem weird. It'll be like something so crazy and out there that I haven't spoken it. Like sometimes I feel like for real, she's my algorithm. Where I'll post something somewhere, or like I know she doesn't see it yet. She has a life too, or whatever, or vice versa. I'll post something somewhere and then I'll see something in her story, and I'm like, look what I just posted. Like even
know,
the
we do
same
that all the
like
time.
sentence.
Oh,
All the time.
that just reminded me of
Sometimes-
that. Like a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but a couple weeks ago, my neighbor, she's this older woman, and I was telling her the other day, I was like, we need to make this. I need to make a TikTok channel of you just ranting, and her name's Regina. I was like, we'll call it Regina Rants. And I mean, she tells the craziest story. She's been to prison a couple times. She's like, I don't know, was a biker bitch, a stripper, all the things, and she's like in her 60s now. Anyway, so
Does she
she
have a
calls
good
the other day. I
smoker's
have her on
voice?
speakerphone, and my daughter is sitting there next to me, and she's sitting there going, well, I got hurt when I was a kid. I was like 12 years old, and I had fell off a bike. My mom was upset about because I stole my brother's bike, and I broke my jaw, and she had to take me to the hospital, and I was getting in trouble the whole way. They had to wire my jaw shut. But this is the part I don't understand. They shaved my monkey. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, who says that? So then I go and I look at Chaney's story, and I'm actually kind of telling him this. I tell him this story through text message, like in the group chat. And then I go and look at Chaney's story on Instagram, and then it's about a girl who went in and had something done, and then they shaved her monkey. And I was like, what the actual fuck? I hear this story literally today, and Chaney's posted this on her story. I was like, what is even happening here?
Like the crazier and more obscure the thing on the timeline, this is where I tell people in this crazy simulation that we're in, whatever's happening, and even in the manifestation of it all, whether you're predicting it, your intuition's telling you, or you're just putting it out there, you can be like, I hope I see a butterfly and it's a sunny, nice spring day. Of course you might see a butterfly. Go crazy. Like,
Yeah.
go bigger. Go bigger with the things that you
I hope I
want.
see World War III.
What is that exactly, though? You could probably, it's just like always, it's just a bunch of AI images clipped together well enough. And it's like, no, my granddad was in that, or my uncle. I don't know how much stuff now is just like Manchurian Candidate, where they get on a plane and they are sitting down on a plane and think they're about to fly somewhere, and they all get gassed, and then they get MK Ultra'd and sent back with a story.
I do like though that there could be someone in the future that's like, my grandpa died in an AI clip. How dare you? And like that could also be a traumatic thing that happened to that person.
I think that's a good T-shirt. Like, my grandpa died in the AI clip. This AI clip. How dare you? How dare you mock my robot friend?
Okay.
Also, you
I
could
have a
totally
thought.
like live out your grandpa dying multiple times in AI just to like prep yourself for the real thing happening.
Yeah, there's
Ready
a
Player 2.
Black Museum Netflix Black Mirror episode is like that. Okay, I want to ask a question. All of a sudden, why do we give a fuck about the odds of things per Polymarket, per Cashy? Like, I have a couple maybe like 5 to 10 accounts that I follow on Twitter that I have notifications for, and all of them have become obsessed with posting, you know, this is the chance of this happening is now up to this per poly market. Like that intertwined with like the condemnation of gambling in this country is like they are going to ruin a generation of men with sports gambling, which ties into poly market. But
Well, and they get them started on Pokemon cards. I think that's really what, like, that's the beginning of that pipeline. Is you get them on, pay $3, open a thing, maybe you'll get $200 out of it, and that becomes this like legalized gambling, and then it leads to poly market, like the new version of senior citizens on the one-arm bandits. It's just going to be kids opening up Pokemon packs or going on poly market and being like, is Donald Trump going to call someone a faggot today? And that's going to be like what they're betting all of their 401k on. Like that's legitimately happening to people.
2 or 3 weeks
Like
ago, there
boo-boo.
was a bet on whether or not Caroline Levitt, like her press conference would be more, like the over under was 5 minutes. Would it be more or less?
Yeah.
And she stopped abruptly right around the 440 something mark
She threw the fight.
and literally ran off fucking stage. Ran.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like, what?
So now everything is totally going to be
What
scripted by
stage? What
controlled by-
stage of late stage capitalism is this? You know, because like
That could be the
what?
new Nancy Pelosi like betting thing.
tracker.
Yeah.
Well, they have those now. Like I follow Unusual Whales, and they have some sort of algorithm in which they track like, you know, the individual who made the bet. I can't remember what did they say that Barron bet on right before it happened.
You hear that too, right?
Yeah, like something's weird happened with the audio where it sounds like a man's trying to creep in and speak. Your handler.
It might be John. He's sleeping on the couch.
Is he snoring?
Shh. I'm on a podcast. Don't say anything.
Oh man. Okay, one thing about the poly market, if I in the conspiracy of it all, is I've heard that you know how you can have different check marks or different corporations or things that you have like your blue check, a gold check, a gray check if you're government, or you can have like an affiliation check mark. People have been making weird connections with all these poly market accounts and how these poly market accounts also politically all kind of have like similar pushes from different sides. So they have these vague statements that they're making, but they're all kind of backed by a poly market. And it would also be a very easy way to launder money and pay off payments in an art kind of way where you could tell somebody to go in on something but be involved in the thing. And when is the regulation on poly market? Like Levitt throwing the fight. Like who's going to come in and say any like she left early and she's like I had nothing left to say.
Or she's like,
Had somewhere to be.
I was
Be
having
betting
a
on
woman's
herself.
issue. You know, she'd be like, I needed to go to the bathroom. You can't ask me about that. Shh. Oh my god.
It's so funny. He's like, what are you saying over there? I am on a podcast. Oh, shit. That is so funny. Oh, shit. I hit my mic.
Oh, I like the white rabbit. That's cute.
Anytime I hit my camera, hold on one sec. Let me reboot this.
Dabbing. That's what I assume she's dabbing every time that happens.
Oh yeah. I just think of Layla with her freaking big ass blowtorch.
There. I was like, this usually doesn't take so long. Let me do this. Oh yeah, when she didn't know she wasn't on mute and she was doing it, hitting
She's
her
like, "Damn."
concentrate. We all just were like, holy shit. That was a good one. But we've had people fall asleep. So It's fine. It's fine. It's a
I'm almost
reminder. It's
falling asleep before.
1:49 a.m. If the snowpocalypse happens and the southern states ice storm caused the rest of the country's power grid to slowly goes down, or at least that's the excuse they give us. This could be the last thing you watch.
What? Yeah,
That's
there could
why
be
I
a
figured I had
national
to keep drinking when
blackout.
my stomach is hurting. I was like, it could be the last episode for a while.
And then once the power comes back on, then Trump just announces, by the way, we own Greenland now. And that's the end of it.
10 Days of Darkness, maybe.
We own Greenland and we've decimated Iran. Don't ask any questions.
We didn't lose any lives. No one was killed.
No one was killed, but 2 weeks later, we found out about new weapons that melt sand into diamonds.
Best operation you've
I
ever
don't know that
seen.
you said it correctly earlier. You were talking about it kind of around it. The Department of Defense came out today and said they have like direct energy weapons. Like literally, they said, "Yeah, baby, we gotta do. It ain't no thing."
They're going to get themselves banned off YouTube if they're not careful.
Yeah, I know, right? I want to be like, has the algorithm been updated? Can we say dudes now?
Hold on one sec. I'm gonna try to remove you and put you back in because your sound's crazy.
It's not someone in the background. It's like something else going on.
Yeah, it's like something else for real. It's like a demon.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see if this works. It's not a real Secret Society of Good Guys episode unless we have audio problems somewhere.
They have to be live too. Live audio
Yeah,
problem.
she might have to reboot it from her side, but we'll try it this way. We'll try it again whenever. Boom. So we'll see. Well, maybe she rebooted herself anyway.
Okay, so the whole do you guys all feel like, I've heard it said a lot, that time's speeding up? And I'm sure we've already talked about this before, but like, and then the whole daylight saving time, and which that's a summer thing. Like, daylight doesn't need saving, or time doesn't need saving.
No, daylight never needed saving.
There it is. But I'm thinking, when I was a little kid, my grandparents probably were only in their 60s or whatever, but I feel like they look like little old people forever. Like I look at 80-year-olds now and I would never guess that they're 80. It's so wild to me. You're like, there's no fucking way. So do you actually, the CERN of it all, like, I just feel like days are shorter. I don't think they're really like 24 hours and everything's digital. So it's not like, I mean, they just decided to shut the light off a little early every day.
I heard that people were taking old school stopwatches and then like putting them next to their phones and they're not keeping the same minute.
That's kind of how
But I don't know if this is real. I just don't trust anything.
I know. I feel like certain clocks aren't even like they never hold the same time as your phone. Your phone will like they lose minutes all the time, and they just shave a couple minutes here and there. We would never know.
That's actually a real thing. I believe that every year there's or every X number of years there's like a massive correction where seconds just get burnt off. And that's kind of when they transition from one calendar to the other, right? From like the Gregorian calendar or the Julian calendar. That like once they actually transitioned, there was this universally agreed upon series of days, like in a month, just got written off the books. And that somebody only found out about that when they were doing like software development, and this had to be implemented in this like this calendar library that they ran into, that certain historical dates weren't lining up to their calculations. When they dug in to figure out the anomaly, it was because the world literally just agreed, like, hey, we're going to write off these 34 days, whatever the hell number of days it was. So that's like a thing that constantly happens. We still haven't got around because our math isn't pure enough yet.
This would fuck with your sleep schedule. And you'd be like, how could they ever pull this off? And then everybody talked about online at the beginning of lockdown, so they were seeing two suns in the sky. And they that was like the first hashtag they took away, was like the sun. And now everyone says the sun they see is not the same sun they remember, where they used to remember like a yellow sun, like, and bright
Yellow
orange
sun,
sun.
when you look right into it, I have a blue dot in the middle because that's the way I always drew it because I would look up in it.
And then now it's a like white sun. Everybody's like, see, this is
I
where
just I think it's probably done on an even bigger scale than we think because I realize that more people are getting fillers and Botox and stuff, but still, there's some people who've never done any of that, and it's wild to me that they seem like they're not aging at the same rate.
we're younger than our parents were at
We
our
are.
age.
Oh my gosh, my mom had me in her 30s, and I look at a baby picture of me, and she's holding me, and she looks so old. It's so crazy, and she looked old my whole life.
I think everyone smoked then too. When I was growing up, every adult smoked. There was no adults that didn't smoke.
Oh,
Everyone
that's
smokes
true.
weed now.
That's true too.
Who doesn't smoke or
You both
vape or
make good
something?
points. You both make good points.
Maybe that's it. It's weed that's making everybody younger.
What about if it's the vaccines? Just kidding, everyone. Just kidding.
Go get married.
I don't know. Maria, feel free to talk anytime you want if you're there. BT dubs about really anything because that's what we do on.
I changed my headphones. Is that better?
Yes,
That's
it
good.
is better. It was doing like what, but it was like a man's deep voice and it was not anyone in the background. It was only when you were speaking. And I'm like, that would be so rude if somebody was talking only when you were talking.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I hate to be that girl that has audio problems. I like stepped out of turn in court today. It's just like par for the fucking course.
Oof, that seems so nerve wracking. It's like drama stage. What the hell? Anyway,
Did you totally do Mount Rushmore? I
yes.
haven't even seen the thumbnail. That's awesome. I'm not okay, so I have a friend who also is like a Carlos Castaneda person, and so he challenged me this week. He was like, for the next 3 weeks, you got to do something to disrupt your ego. So you choose something. Like he's like, you can like not look in a mirror or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's never gonna fucking happen. Like I have a real world job. If I don't look in a mirror, I'm gonna look like hell. So anyway, I was like, okay, I won't look at social media for 3 weeks. But my only caveat is that if somebody sends me something, I can look at that post and then I will look at that and then shut it down. But I've been trying to stay off of it.
Staying off of social media a little, like a New Year's resolution.
Yep, but I'm disrupting my ego.
Are you on social media right now?
I'm not looking at it right now. I haven't closed it down. I'm just not looking at it unless if somebody sends me a post, I'll look at it. But if you message me or something on there, I'm not going to be checking it for 3 weeks. So
That's good. Our little like weird compulsive habits that we do that we don't even realize that we're doing.
yeah, like how many times a day do you check it or scroll just because? Which
You
I
mean your
don't.
rituals?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much Black Mirror rituals, scrying.
I'm into rituals. I just think people should be more intentional about all the things that they're being involved in every single day that are a
that.
ritual, but they don't think it is at all. And so I think back when we had more accountability to our energy and what we were doing with it every day for every second of the day. And maybe some religions still do now, but I think a lot of religions don't. And they say things, but they don't really do things. And they feel good about those things. But then their rituals would say like, oh, you're into Dionysus and Maenads. And then they're like, no, I go to church on Sundays. And it's like, oh, I just saw you taking part in this Super Bowl and I just assumed you were into fertility rituals.
Well, they are. They just don't realize it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like maybe if people were more intentional about what they're up to, then at least if they were taking part in the fertility ritual, they could give it to someone they love and not the like Dionysus baby of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce as they lead us through this epic loosh fest before they get married. because nobody cared. Like, it didn't hit big enough, so I think they had to delay their wedding.
Makes sense.
And then we were talking about like the NFL. Taylor was just there to help because of the Colin Kaepernick taking the knee. Taylor had to like re-give him the boost because nobody watched the NFL anymore. And now everybody watches the NFL again, so they don't really need her for marketing.
Yeah, no one that like boycotted it is still boycotting it.
Now they're back because all their wives were like, have you seen Taylor Swift is dating blank Travis?
So do you think the poly market is gonna like fuck with fantasy sports? Because that I feel like that's the main reason why people do watch football and stuff now.
Oh yeah, I think it already does. It's
Yeah.
like the same as any betting thing now. It has like sports, but it just has silly stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen
Like-
some of them.
Like, what color is Bad Bunny's shoes going to be at the Super Bowl? Which I
There's
think
fun ones that are like, is it going to be colder than 54 or hotter than 57 degrees in London between 3 and 4 p.m.? Like things very, very specific that people can bet on.
Do you think like Polymarket could be like weathercasting or any of the other newscasting where they're trying to force a spell? Because people aren't intentional about rituals and their own magic, and they're just, oh, I'm just putting a little currency toward this. I'm just putting a little currency on a plate and walking by. It's
I do
fine.
think Polymarket incentivizes people to manipulate. Like there's no reason not to, because if you can manipulate, then you can bet on a sure thing. And if you've got a platform that lets you bet on a sure thing, then you're just inviting people to use it for that purpose alone.
That's why I think a lot of certain, even Jake Paul stuff, they can't be like, this is all fixed because of the gambling aspect. But Polymarket has this loophole that Vegas doesn't seem to have where they can be like, I don't know. It seems like a little more, you can make a quicker bet about something instantly and stupid. It's not like drawing up books, but I guess there are stupid bets at Vegas too.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think the affiliations would be interesting if somebody did that research on all the accounts that have the Polymarket tag behind them. Could be curious. What else? We Davoed this week. Did anything else crazy happen in Davos? Oh, Elon Musk mask. Did you guys see him say he was an alien?
No, I didn't see him say it, but I saw his weird.
Yeah, he pretty much is like comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm an alien time traveler, the Elon Musk thing. Oh, I'm so eccentric." Oh, but really the whole time he's wearing like a mask with like a line in his neck that is so severe. It looks like he has like he took a trach out and then went and did the speech and then he went and came and put it back in. And in the way he's talking about, I'm an alien, I'm a time traveler. So, and that's almost like the look over here. So there's this, I always bring up the Queen sitting with Paddington the bear. Once there was this like whole little video of the Queen of England sitting with Paddington. And I felt like that was the look over here where everybody's like, oh my gosh, look at CGI. Paddington bear looks so real. When in reality, the Queen was CGI for like 5 years. Like she was dead years and years ago.
It's so
But-
wild.
If time was fucked up, then being Insomniac would really, that would
It would make
make
sense. Yeah.
They're trying to force everybody on this weird sleep schedule and you're the like last remaining person that you're like, my body.
I don't know about you, but I felt like today was at 1.25 speed.
That's
Like, it
how
was
I feel.
crazy.
I feel like that in general. Like somebody's sitting there hitting it, like hitting a button and making it go a hell of a lot faster than it actually is. Just lately seems like that. The last year, maybe probably longer, but
And I know people say the older you get, the faster time goes.
Mhm.
I understand the relativity of it, but it's different.
It is.
That's what I keep saying. It's different, you guys.
Because everyone keeps
Earth.
getting older and I'm just staying the same age. So
You don't realize it till you look at some picture of you like captured in this moment from like 5 years back, and then you're like, huh, I don't know. But or maybe you look back and you're like, damn, I look good compared to then.
It's like, damn, that was back before my elbow clicked.
Oh shit, gravity. Gravity gets you down. What about if love ages you? Because if
Ugh.
gravity is not real and the whole thing of the Tesseract is love anchors you to a moment because the builders of the Tesseract can't find a moment in time. So what if it's love that actually ages you and not gravity that slowly pulls you down?
you can see that to an extent because love isn't a purely pleasant feeling. Like love is like almost like equal to the amount of you love somebody is usually equal to amount you fear for them. You worry, anxiety, all these negative feelings are there. Like they're matched almost equally, especially love as we know it, because love tends to be possession. I would say like that's the way a lot of people look at it, is that when you love somebody, they belong to you, or in some way, shape, or form. It's like picking the flower, that you love. You pick the flower and you want it to be yours, and you're gonna own it. And that's how most people treat it. And even with your kids, and they're not even yours. They're there for a time period. They're your responsibility for a little while to, show them how to live and how to be a productive person. But they don't actually belong to you. But even still, the amount of worry and fear and all that stuff, like people tend to look at love as possession instead of allowing it to grow and thrive, those people. But anyway, it's a good thing, but it also, I would say, it's a pendulum just like anything else. It has its whole negative side.
Love. It's almost going to be Valentine's Day. I don't want to take a hard left, but I don't want to take a hard. Did you see everybody with the Vril eyes this in the last few weeks? Like Macron with his, and some people are like, oh, he got punched by his wife. And then, but other politicians with the really red white eye this week. Has anybody else seen this? Mike Huckabee, I think, had it too.
I've not been on social media, so
Oh, well, good.
I haven't seen it either. But
it's only
my
been like
first
24
thought was
hours,
like,
though.
Yes.
who's
They're all
the one
getting
that
like
gets
new updates.
They're all
No.
getting new central casting.
Well, here's the thing, like if I've been again, I'm on my third lasagna right now, so I've still like elbows
Go,
and
girl.
pasta. And I can't pull up my notes like I wish I could right now. But I'm really into the Vril and the Vril Society and its connection to Nazism back in the day. But it's also just like if you don't want to fuck with me with like the idea of a parasite alien running like the country through these people's meat suits. I guess could you just like think of the idea generally as of like a parasite and a host, or and thinking of that almost in like a demonic way. Like who was I reading about, Chaney? I can't remember the name of the individual that was talking about how he met a demon on the side of a mountain in Vail, Colorado when he was a child, and that it has possessed him and helped him make decisions and helped him make his millions for the rest of time. It's very analogous to like the Jinn of the Japanese.
Was it
This
Peter
term,
Thiel?
no.
It's somebody in that realm
Hold
of
on,
like
I got
billionaire.
gloves on. I gotta go look at my photos now. But I want to do a post on this because it's just like whether you believe, oh, it's Les Wexner.
Yes.
And okay, this is where this is such an interesting dig that like I haven't had time to work on
Wait,
yet.
real quick, was it Warren Buffett?
No, it was Les Wexner.
Okay, go on.
So I was reading like I'm in this like subreddit about mountains, and it was talking about, it's an article that's examining Jeffrey Epstein's veil connections following new revelations. And so it talks about his connection to Les Wexner. And it's like every time Wexner is mentioned in the media, his demon is also mentioned at the same time, which maybe is like the demon wants to be recognized, and it kind of makes sense. But I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly. Debuk, D- a,
Yes.
da-
Yeah.
a debuk. Okay,
Or like a debug,
and so like
debug box.
I think the idea of a debuk, the idea of vril, of the jinn, it's all boils down to this parasite host relationship, which you can even like transfer into the idea of like if if there's the ability to like stack consciousness, and like that's transferable in some way. It all is the same concept. Um, but I'll let you guys go on. But just to finish really quickly, there was a big article that was written in the New Yorker about this, and it talks about like his debug. He always wakes up worried because of his debug, which pokes and prods and gives him the itchiness of soul that he calls spikes. Sometimes he runs away from it. Sometimes he comes back to it. Like, what? Okay, go on. Sorry.
Weird.
No, I'm gonna pull up because it's uh is a malicious, dislocated spirit or soul in Jewish folklore that possesses a living person, causing mental distress or erratic behavior until exorcised by a religious rite, originating from Hebrew words meaning to cleave, or yeah, I think that's the word. The debuk is often the soul of a deceased sinful person unable to find rest, seeking refuge in a host body for various reasons, from malice to punish or even unfinished business, famously depicted in S. Ansky's play.
Well, that's the whole concept of some of those, that one movie, I forget what it's called, but the debug box. Like the Jews put like
Oh, yes.
they put the spirit in the box or whatever, and then the box is supposed to be sealed, like to hold the demon in.
This
Now,
is
So
this is basically Scientology too, but like the thetans that come out of the volcano is just like the demons that come out of the box.
Now, if I can add one more just like weird random tangent to this, I'm reading about it, and I'm talking about the movie Fallen, which if you've ever
I
seen the movie
love that
Fallen,
movie.
that
Yes.
depicts a jinn, which is essentially the same idea as the book. So I'm talking about Fallen in my stories, and one of the members of the class says, "Did you know that the Fallen movie was co-written by Alan Dershowitz, which is like very close to Trump?" And I was like, I want to do research now on like his relationship to Les Wexner, and like, is Fallen written by or inspired by Les Wexner and his book, or do they all just have like they're all possessed, and
Time
they're
is on my side.
soft disclosing through stuff like this.
Yeah, and
Wild.
even that idea of that being the song "Time Is on My Side," and then if biblical stuff is real and a lot of it is synagogue of Satan stuff, then it's synagogue of Saturn stuff, which is synagogue of time stuff. So saying
Yeah.
that time is on your side would be very
Wild.
similar in ways.
But when you're explaining the whole thing, it brings me back to last week we were talking about the whole mycelium network with the mushrooms. But then I've been watching that show Sense8 on Netflix, and it's really freaking good. And I think it's along the lines of the show you were talking about on Apple TV or whatever, where people are kind of connected. But in Sense8, they're kind of connected in pods. Like they're not Homo sapien, they're like an older species of human essentially, but they're connected through their frontal lobe, and they call it the mycelium network. So it's like it's not even real, that they go off of the whole mushroom network of it all. And I thought that was kind of wild, the tie-in there. But that's what this all kind of like, the levels of consciousness and layering and all of that, like having actual people in your head. It's
Plus, it's like a Skinamax flick too, a little bit.
Skinamax. like that.
In the factions of it all, it's interesting to just think mycelium, like fungus network, and then there's like parasitic network, like vril.
Yeah.
It's just, and then like the web is a network. You know, it's just
It
like all
is
these different
mycelium,
factions
technically.
of. I don't know. That's crazy. I think the fallen and the jinn are interesting. I think it links to that movie Hereditary. I think
Yeah.
that's, they're doing rituals to find the perfect host body for their god. I think it links into Selma Hayek, who I know I've been obsessed with her, you guys, for a little bit, but Ramtha and them worshiping this 50,000-year-old deity and all this weird stuff in these cults. I almost think like Selma Hayek and Heidi Klum, it's funny that all their costumes are always demon and vril-like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's definitely curious to me. I saw somebody on the side write, "Don't go ending the show." And I had no intention. And then I was like, what? And then I looked and then I was like, oh. It's like I didn't even notice what time it was or how long we were here. See, look what you did. You made me notice it. And I'm like, oh, I'm so tired all of a sudden. I'm just kidding. What else happened this week, y'all? Anything?
I'll rely on you guys to give me the updates.
You rely on me to give you the hot take of the week. Let me think. Any celebs died? There was Davos in Switzerland, which King George blood bank. It's always weird. I wondered how far away Davos was from Geneva and CERN in general, because everybody was CERN all the time. These are all my weird, like, autist thoughts of the week of what's been going on. But I don't know. ICE, I guess they've tried to get us to talk about with all the stuff in Minnesota. But I don't know. Honestly, in the character game of whatever politics is, the character of Elon Omar, I just feel like you got what you asked for. Like,
I just want to say to you guys, I used to have a bunch of Somalian clients here in Nashville. Somehow my boss had developed a relationship with them over the years. And whatever you think, you picture in your brain of what the fraud that they're doing or they're perpetuating, excuse me, like you have to multiply it times 100. They have every form of every assistance that exists. They have Section 8 housing where they pay $25 a month for their apartment. My client had for like 20 years. She'd been in the same apartment. Um, she always had cash. They're so litigious, so litigious. They loved filing orders of protection on each other all the time. And yeah, so she lived in Nashville for a while and then she moved to Minnesota a couple years ago because all of her family's up there. But we should definitely like be reviewing our refugee status and like how we treat them because there is no more fraud than there is there. And it would sicken you to think like how much everyone else receives compared to the nothing that we receive.
or then like the stuff they try to tell us is the something that you're like, this is the nothing.
I wish I paid $25 a month for rent. That's insane.
I want to show you guys a real video. It's short. It's only like a minute. And I just thought it was interesting because they say something about a flavor that the vril is attracted to.
Ew.
It does a spiral around the optic nerve all the way to a certain point, and it's driven there by taste. And they said once it gets there, it has the taste of butterscotch. It then starts what they call sweating the quilt. The spinal cord stuff comes out of the spinal cord, and it's everything that the lizard is. The lizard's whole body is dead, and it can't go back in. It's one way. The juice that's in the spinal cord gets excreted out of the tip of this thing. They're parasitic cells. The parasitic cells go into the brain. The old person's consciousness is gone. The body is absolutely, totally dominated, and the lizard is smarter as a human. Over time, it'll develop a rash. It'll lose its hair. The thing squiggles in through the eye.
Anyway,
That sounds like Exorcist 3. Where
I like that the medical term is it squiggles in. The thing squiggles in through the eye.
All I want to say is that if you ever watch the 100, then you know exactly what's happening in this reality.
Love the 100. That's good.
It's
think
YA. If you can suffer through the YA of it all, what happens with AI, the transferring of consciousness, it is so like the way they time travel through portals and like space exploration is actually through portal technology, is the way they create religions, just
Oh, yeah.
so interesting.
ancient AI real. The way they live underground and separate them all into segments under this ground. And then they come back out in different factions with different religions, which you can see them trying to do. That's why I think the soft disclosure of we found these underground bunkers, and FYI, the government spent $21 trillion to build this dreamy underground bunker for the elite. They have to tell everyone it's for the elite. So it's like the name like candy for your kid. Like somebody at the country club names it, and then 20 years later, somebody at the strip club has the name. It's like it like trickles down. So you have to tell them the elite like this, so that you can sell, you know, a lower level of that name brand to all of them. And so I feel like that's what the underground bunkers are. They're trying to like talk them up like, look at the elite have underground bunkers, but that's the easiest way to lock us in. They want us all in that bunker, and then they're going to
I'm
shut
sold.
that.
I don't care how much of a trap it is. I'm all in for an underground bunker.
I don't think I could get in.
I have an issue with elevators, okay?
Like I was really thinking about this. Like, let's say whatever your dream scenario is of whoever's in charge, let's just say it's you and somebody you trust is like, hey, I found this bunker. And then the news is like, mer, 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 a comet's coming, something's coming. You got to get in the underground bunker. And then at what point do you trust that thing telling you that thing?
I'm an Okie. We sit on the freaking porch when the sirens go off and they tell you to take shelter. You sit and watch.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I just think locking myself in a bunker, I'd be more likely to shoot myself into fake space. Which is essentially a smaller bunker, but at least I'm like, this could be an adventure. A bunker just seems like so boring.
Well, and then if you watch the 100, eventually it leads to not enough food, and then they have to do like little God, my words have left me. But battles, and then the fights to the death, and then that person they mix it into religions. That way, cannibalism is okay. So
Yeah, they
Yeah.
go straight hard into cannibalism
yeah,
and justify it with fighting pits.
I was thinking of Colosseum. I was thinking Roman terms, and I couldn't spit it out.
There's another. This gets really dark into like the whole frazzle drip of it all, but there are some instances in history where the elites have allowed famine and starvation to happen so that normal people start enacting in cannibalism out of necessity, and that provides some cover for people that want to do it out of luxury or out of like some kind of fetish. Now they have like a justification. It's like, oh no, I'm eating people just because, that's what everyone has to do these days. And that even when like those famines recede and people are able to eat normal food again, there's certain small sects of society that continue cannibalizing until someone's like, hey, like we're not doing that anymore, like that's over, and like they have to go and do it underground again. But there definitely seems like there's waves in which there's like an extra incentive to let it get to that point because it provides cover.
Well, and then I mean, if you're going conspiratorial there, you can even look at like the Irish potato famine. What did that do? That sent a whole bunch of freaking Irish women and children over here who became indentured servants, and we had essentially white slavery. So
Do you
there's
think
that
they
aspect of it
like
too.
when they tell us about, oh, there's been a new tribe discovered in this place. We know nothing about them. Do you think those are like
That's
test
coming up a lot
samples?
lately, huh?
Yeah. Do you think they're just test samples so they can slowly be like, oh, we found out this tribe practiced cannibalism? Like, just so they can like test in, like, to get the
Are they
feels
ready
of the
yet?
general public. Like, well, it's okay. They came up that way. It's their religion. And then, like, Moloch worshippers are like, we're glad you said that. Like, I don't know. It just seems like cannibalism. Are they just burning
What
effigies?
is it called when you have a new TV show and you're like paying people to watch it?
Pilot?
No, like when you test like your show and you have people watch it and they give you feedback.
Hmm. I know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
never mind. Goodbye.
No, I was thinking the word pilot too.
No, I know what you're talking
But
about.
yeah,
Like, they
like
do
with
it
the
for
test
movies.
audience
basically.
screening. I don't know.
Screening.
There you go.
No? Screening?
Close
Yeah,
enough.
kind of when they like screen it like that. I would just say that I think things are screened all the time. Like I think we're constantly bombarded and certain variables are tested against others. Chaney and I were talking recently, if you remember during the beginning of the pandemic, if you were paying attention circa like February, March of 2020, all of a sudden like 15 to 18 million dollar phone number, excuse me, 15 to 18 million different phone numbers disappeared from China. And it was like, okay, was this like a genocide? Or was this like what was happening here? Like, is COVID just this huge cover because they were killing all of the people who were protesting in Hong Kong at that time? It was just like this huge discussion. There was like the carbon monoxide maps, you know what I mean? And they said they're bringing incinerators in there to like burn all of these bodies. And then Chaney and I were discussing the idea that China supposedly has all of these movie sets, like all of these like fake cities all over. And like, what if those 15 to 18 million people weren't even real? They were just lines on like a spreadsheet for them as like a collateral type thing. You know, like I have X number of people, and because I have X number of people, I'm, the manufacturer of the world, blah, 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 blah. Like for years now, I've tried and been like, did they kill all of these people? And now I have to take like something from my own book and be like, oh, they probably weren't even real. They were just movie subjects they were using.
Like
That
fake
makes sense to
numbers.
me.
Population was their weapon, their big, huge thing that everyone's like, do you know the population of China by this point will be this? But it was always fake.
And they kill all the girls, so they have a built-in army. Yeah.
Willing to go to war. And now they're getting past the window of that. All those guys are old, and then they lost the window where they're like, shit, we ran out of wombs. I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy.
That could also one of those like nationwide crises where it's like, uh-oh, there's not enough wombs. It's like, well, I guess now we've got the justification for the artificial wombs to get rolled out because, I mean, national security now. Now it's no longer a question of morals. Now it's a question of survival.
Perfect time for the World's Fair.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we had incubator babies before, so we may as well just do the artificial womb and have some more little new version of incubator babies.
Here's the other crazy idea. In the simulation, if they need Greenland for the overpopulation of it all, what if the powers that be, like all the most evil people, like the Rothschilds, whatever we think the evil elite are, really they are just like, you guys don't understand. You have to have a plague every 100 years to kill a certain amount because the server can only handle so much power. Like can only be so much draw on this. And we didn't realize they were just trying to do it for us. So when the rapture happens, it's really just that the server couldn't
It's just
handle
a
it.
defrag. It's just a
Yeah.
defrag. Like every time
guys
there's
are-
something, a bunch of people die, they just had to defrag the system.
You guys are so speaking my language here.
But wouldn't it kind of turn off in the same way of like a sim, like, poof, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, they blue lit up. But really, they just went, poof, and they just turned off. Because, like, so the NPC, everybody's like, they're NPC, that's NPC. All the NPCs would be the ones that got raptured.
Y'all, that's the thing that's been driving me crazy at work because, I'm an IT person and I make everybody's emails and all of that stuff. And so every time there's a new employee, I have so many NPC names that make it's just weird at this point. Like it's getting to the it's
You
just
can't say their names.
I can't say their names, but they're all
like.
they're all so fake. They're so fake, just like I'm playing a video game.
I use the Anthony Weiner example all the time. Like the guy with the last name Weiner should be the last guy touching his dick.
Well, like Philip K. Dick too.
That's
Same
how the
same idea.
simulation is so on the nose sometimes. That's how you know we're living. Like I look at something like that and I smile. Like
We
Anthony
do.
Weiner playing with
Sam
his dick his
Sam
whole
Bankman
life.
Fried.
Exactly. Like get the fuck out of here, Sim.
And I
Yeah.
That's
still
right.
always shout out to Owen Benjamin when he's like, if crude oil was worth something, their name would have been Oilstein and Oilberg. I always just think that's real life. Sorry.
So true.
I was trying to stay out of that basket this time. I'm like, maybe the algorithm will be friendly with us since we don't come in so hot today. Oh, shit. Do you guys have anything crazy going on this week or any predictions for this absurd reality that we all seem to be living in collectively? It doesn't matter even if you think you know. I feel like you have no idea. I think it's going to get weirder. So do you have any predictions of what potential after snowstorm could hold? Like, are we going to lose power? Will it be 10 days of darkness? Because I think there's another snowstorm behind it. What do you guys think?
I'm not big on predictions.
Are you not trying to be a false prophet?
What do
Or
you
even
think?
even if you get it right, I don't know. I don't understand like what the like unless you had it on Polymarket, then there's being right makes sense.
It pays off.
It pays off. You get actually paid from it. But otherwise, being right doesn't. You get bragging rights for all of like 2 minutes and then it's gone.
Yeah, I just think it's more so, they say the whole thing that those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. So it's just like, okay, will we lose power this week? Or is this just one of those economy pushes that the Weather Channel does where it's a hurricane that's not even going to come close? But Home Depot and Walmart are like, yay.
It's just a regular cold spell and a normal snowstorm.
I still think that we live in the Hero Dawn timeline. This is the Biff timeline. And so why it hasn't gone exactly according to my own schedule. I think that the character of Trump is not in the business of losing. And he's not in the business of being like right now in the wrestling of it all, he desires to be a baby face, not a heel. And like he wants to be praised and revered. And so I still think that like there is a time of like great abundance coming if you know how to play the game. Like
I do
he
too.
wants to win. And so I believe in a hero, I call it a Hero Dawn timeline, but I think it's the Biff timeline from Back to the Future.
Yeah, I see
He's
that.
got the sports almanac and I'm not necessarily here to like fucking Little Bear and Trump anything. Fuck you, Candace Owens. But there's something happening here. And I have a big thing with like the 88. You see 88 everywhere. It started appearing in my observation at least circa like April 2025, right around the time Bitcoin went to 88,000. But now every time I see 88, I think that they're manipulating the timeline because it's really everywhere.
the 2 poles in the front of the White House that were 88 feet. Everything's like 88 degrees, or the temperature will be 88 for something weird. Like they just discovered the melting point for blank and it's 88. And I know if you see any number, it can become a repetitive number, but it seems to be in the same way of like 33 would be used where people are like, look at this is always used like this. It seems like in the Hero Dawn timeline, 88 is used in a different way. But it's used
Well, it's
in
like
the
2
same.
Earl Burrows too.
Yeah. 2. I don't know.
I always hear ADA, like the American Disability Act. Whenever 88 comes up, I just had to throw it out there.
88.
Americans with Disabilities Act, yeah.
I don't know. Trump did tweet out like it seems like okay, the storm, everybody stay in, stay cozy, stay warm. Make sure you have, like, if you wanted a bunch of people to prep for things, a lot of people in southern states that live in a place that they would be already hurricane prepared. Some states might not have batteries and candles and rice and beans in a way that Floridians and Texans might just, or Gulf states might just have that shit on lock. Other states might not have necessarily the same things. That this might have made the average not prepper person go out and get rice and beans and some water. Or
Well, the shit they were buying was like bread, eggs, and milk. Those are the 3 things you can buy at any grocery store. They were all gone. And it's like, y'all, like if they're saying 30 days, like I'd be thinking more along the lines of, yeah, beans, rice, water, things that don't really require much. But
Friggin' peanut butter.
peanut butter is always on my list. It's your pet.
Whether or not you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
peanut butter M&Ms if you're desperate, or if you're
Those are so
nasty.
good.
We
Okay,
get
Janet.
in Florida, we have this bad problem of getting a whole bunch of prep and then eating it or going through it before the storm even shuts our power off. And I didn't know if people in this place were having a hard time, like where they're like, shit, we prepped all this stuff and already went through it. Like if that's something they're worried about, or if it's like still stocking.
I feel like I'm being a little crazy here because I only have like 2 rolls of toilet paper. So, but I had the choice to go buy it today, but I did not want to stand in line. Like it was so long. So I'm feeling a little risky here. Or
That is risky, because if this is what else I was thinking, like aftermath of frozen situations, is you could have a lot of bust pipes. And
yeah,
you could
well,
have like no water potentially.
because that's what they're
too.
saying. You have to prepare for no water, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of scary. That idea is scary. Like no power, whatever. I've hunkered down and in freezing ass cold temperatures before with a bunch of blankets and.
But even if you have 10
fine,
rolls
but
of toilet paper, I'm going to be honest. If you have no running water, you don't want to use a whole bunch of fucking toilet paper. You're not trying to even, you want to
No.
keep like one ply. Like you're like
Yeah.
splitting the ply and you're like, just use this, because you don't know how long you're going to have to go without running water in a place.
That's even water. I was like, how much water do you actually need? You would have to sit there and like ration yourself to like one of these a day or whatever.
Well, at least you can melt snow.
Yeah, if you want to eat all that dust, but
I mean, all waterways at
could.
this point.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you could. I don't know. Well, yeah, maybe it won't be as bad at all. But I just think the aftermath. This is the thing in Florida too that they also do, where they're like, this is a lot of stress on the grid. You know, the wind's picking up, and it, because electricity, we don't want to, if all these things start falling or what have you, we don't want electricity going through the line. So we're just going to go ahead and cut the power off now. And you're like, what the?
What?
Yeah, they'll just cut the power off at like 11 p.m. flat. And now for real, like neighborhoods make it through. Like if they flip the power back on, some people don't lose their power, like Bourbon Street in Louisiana. Like they
Yeah.
don't lose their power at all, but your township or whoever has control of that part of the grid shuts the whole thing down. And so I'm like, I wonder if that's different if it's cold outside. But you wouldn't know if they did that anyway. And they would just be like, yep, there was ice storms. Here's the power line down in Indiana. Here's a tree on a car. I don't know.
I hate ice storms though. Like it's shut Oklahoma down for like 10 days before. Just straight ice and everything, and grids going down. Just weight of the ice.
Well, all right. I send you guys warm thoughts. Do you guys have anything you want to plug this week? Thomas, what do you have going on
I
all
do.
week?
The first campaign that I've got scheduled, it's for anyone keeping track, it's been a year since the Illuminati comic with Donut, and I haven't had any new releases, but I've got like 12 lined up. The first one's going to be Chaos Twins issue 2 with Sam. So go to chaostwins.com, click the little sign up to be notified when this drops, because the biggest thing that people can do to help is that the second it drops, like literally within a minute of it dropping, to get as many people signed up to go and back it and pick one of the tiers. Because if you can show the algorithm that it got 100% funding in the first like 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 1 hour or whatever it takes, that's the biggest thing that can spike it and get it in front of normies. So having like a huge army of people ready to back it and push it into the algorithm is the number one thing that you could do to support me or Sam probably like all year. So just go to chaostwins.com and sign up and get ready for it and follow along for when we launch the army at the rest of them.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. And do you have anything going on, Maria? I know you've been doing fun lives and hanging out with your audience on Instagram again. Are your hands free to tell
Well, I
everyone
haven't
where
been
to
going
find you?
live actually, but thank you for pretending like I have.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm just like participating with Instagram a little bit. I'm also on Twitter. I'll never call it X. I refuse to convert, but you can find me at mymaria777. I mean, I'm kind of sad you guys are going. I feel like
Well,
Jamie
tell
we
us
could
something
talk.
else. We'll stay. You could probably convince us.
Oh,
I might
no,
fall
no.
asleep.
You guys go on.
All right.
We
Well,
after party too.
yeah, we'll hang out afterward and sometimes talk until the sun comes up. And then we think we said it on air, but then we're like, oh shit, we came across that whole conclusion of that thing after we got off air. So anyways, we love you guys so much. Be safe out there. Don't feed the loosh machine with fear. Sometimes it is just pushing commerce. And take care of yourself. Drink your little warm beverages. And we will see you very soon. And Layla, we hope you feel better. XOXO. Gossip Girl. Bye-bye.
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes Santa. Here comes the world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, clones, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, clones, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking.